It is Wednesday, so you know what that means. It is Anime Club. How are you doing, Break? Welcome to Wednesday Anime Club. How was your weekend so far? Hey, everyone.
Man, it's been all right. It's been all right for the most part. I had to get back into heck is this thing on my screen? To get back into working out, getting back into the flow because I've been kind of slacking lately. So it's been good. It's been good getting back into it. Feeling real healthy right now.
But yes, guys, as I mentioned before, today is Anime Club. And we're actually, this is like kind of like a monument because today we're talking about episodes 9 to 11 of Wotakoi, which means we finished like a whole series, guys. This is
We did it.
the first series we finished. I'm excited about that. Like anytime like I can complete something, I'm like, wow, we can do things like successfully. That's great. So I think we can jump in. As you guys know, we're discussing episodes 9 and 11 of Wotakoi. So I'm just going to jump in. We'll start with our usual recap style. And when we feel something we have to say, we'll, insert that in. So in this episode, episode 9, we'll start with that. Hirotaka and Narumi go on a date to a music park. So at the amusement park, they kind of make this rule where Hirotaka says they're not allowed to talk about anything like otaku related. So it's kind of like how you would do like a swear jar, where it's like if you swear, you have to put money in the jar. In this case, if they talk about games or anime or make like a reference to that, they have to put something in the swear jar. My first thought was, if this was you, how much money do you think would be in the swear jar at the end of the day?
I much what they're doing because I mean, come on. If you have someone that's like into anime too, and you out here hanging with them, like, come on. You telling me you're not gonna try to make a reference here and there? Like, it comes natural, It comes natural.
That's true.
I be saying "nani" all the time. We say what no word. Right?
I feel like I think I'm kind of in the same like line as you. As if I knew it was somebody that was really into it, I think I would make a lot of references. But
Yeah.
like, I could like kind of like later on in the episode, Narumi talks about how like she's had experience having to kind of shut that otaku side of her away on dates, and I feel like not necessarily dates, but I feel like I could do that. Like I feel like if it was just like this person doesn't know about otaku stuff anyway, I could probably go without making a reference. I think, but yeah, if it was like
Uh,
somebody like you or whatever, I feel like I would just keep talking about it. Like especially like after like I watch a show, I have to tell everyone about the show I just watched.
exactly. It's like, how can you not? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Like Attack
They're
on
doing her crazy.
Oh, sorry. Attack on Titan, when it ended, I knew my brother watched Attack on Titan, but I knew he didn't catch up to the fourth season. So I literally like forced him to watch it. I like sat with him. I turned it on, like, we're gonna watch this so I can just scream at you about everything that I wanted to say for the past couple days. And so like I don't know. Um Andre says, I wouldn't be given no money. LOL, this show shows me that Kabakura type that I can switch my otakuness on and off. Oh, okay, we have another one that can switch it on and off. Do you think, Break, you could switch it off if it was somebody that you knew didn't really know about that stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, then it's like, what's the point? I mean, I'm still bootleg, so you still get that out of me, of course. But you're not probably gonna see necessarily all that going on there. But if I know that you're into anime and all that stuff, then well, hello, let's share anime.
True,
Let's
okay.
go.
So they are kind of going about like, enjoying their day, and they decide to go on this like scary, like haunted ride, right? So when they're in line with the ride, Narumi basically starts freaking out, and she's like, okay, let's just go on it. So she grabs the nearest guy next to her and runs on like the next available cart. And so it turns out that guy she grabbed happens to be Kabakura. And we were talking about this before. Why is it that when we think it's just gonna be Hirotaka and Narumi, Koyonagi and Kabakura are like right behind the corner, like hiding behind a trash can, ready to like intervene? Like, what is up with
All
that?
day. I don't know. It's crazy how much they're just hanging out. Honestly, I mean it's cool, but it's like, can we just have a regular date, just the two of us? This is for the party, all right? We what are we doing here?
Exactly. It's like they're like instead of just being two couples, they're like a foursome or something like that. You have to have one pair with the other. Um,
Hey, I think Koyonagi will probably like that too. I don't know.
right. So yes, Kabakura and Koyonagi are there, and since Narumi essentially stole Kabakura, Hirotaka and Koyonagi kind of get in a ride together, and so we kind of switch between what's going on between the two carts. We see Kabakura and Narumi; they're like acting a fool, freaking out, being all scared, and then Koyonagi and Hirotaka are more having like a heart to heart. So particularly, Koyonagi asks how the date is going, and Hirotaka's like, "Well, it's just like normal. Like I wanted it to be this special moment, but it just seems to be really, really normal." And I just want to like go back to the fact, like when I talked about like the otaku jar, one of the reasons like Hirotaka says that he wants like to do the like otaku jar is because like he feels like one of the reasons why they're like kind of too comfortable with each other and like there's not like that spark or nervousness you usually would have like on a date or something is because they have that crutch of both being into like otaku stuff, so they always like revert back to that. So he kind of wants to see like what would happen if they weren't allowed to like use that stuff. But as you
Ironic
can
about that though, a little weird about it is like the fact that it's not even just that they're into otaku things, right? It's just that if you're hung around and been around, this person for how many years? Because they known each other for a very, very long time.
mm-hmm,
I mean, you're gonna get to that point where you're always just comfortable with each other. Like, I mean, that's just a common. That's like a common thing at that point. You're not even thinking about that really. So
mm-hmm.
it's interesting that he's equating some of that to the whole we're just otakus. That's why we're talking all the time and everything. But no, they like it's just too. You guys are just y'all family at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's part of the whole thing with like that kind of like naive, kind of like shy side of Hirotaka, where it's like it is like his first like girlfriend. It is like somebody that he liked for so long, and I feel like
Oh, I
he
mean, is
has
it? Wait. Is it his first girlfriend?
we can assume because he hadn't had friends. He liked Narumi for a long time. I think we can make that assumption. They haven't I'll say that they haven't specified that, but he has alluded to like not really having many friends and relationships like that through his life, through kind of
Mm.
comparing how he's able to socialize with people versus Narumi. So I would make that like connection, I would say, but at the very least like he hasn't had many interactions with people, out in terms of friendship and things like that. But I feel like he has a lot of naivety in terms of how like relationships like that work. So he's like, why isn't like this? Or like trying to kind of compare it to, oh, well, what did you do with other boyfriends you had and stuff like that. So I feel like
Mm.
he's slowly learning that like relationships are like what you make them. They don't like there's not like a cookie cutter, you must feel this way, you must be awkward at this stage or like awkward with this kind of thing. And so I feel like he's like kind of in a way like chasing like a ideal, but in his own like Hirotaka way. But yeah, so Koyanagi and him are talking, and they kind of have like that little heart to heart where she's kind of like, you know what, you don't have to like freak out about that. Relationships go at their own pace. You guys will get to like the point you want your relationship to get to when it does. So after the ride, the four of them part ways, and so it's kind of like Hirotaka and Narumi like walking in the amusement park, like enjoying their time together, and then our boy Hirotaka, he goes in for the hand hold. He's ready to clasp her hand in love. However, he chickens out because she turns around at the last second. So he pulls his hand away and she's like, "You seem tired. Let's go take a seat." And so he's like, okay, that flopped. But they're like going to go take a seat. And then he kind of is like, oh my God, like, it's crazy that she would like say that. Like, she's so observant. She's really in tune with people's feelings. And then he kind of does that little Hirotaka, almost like self deprecation thing, I've noticed throughout the show where he kind of compares himself to Narumi and he's like, yeah, she's, lived all these like had all these experiences, had so many friends and things like that. And so she was able to get like this sense of like understanding people and being caring towards people while I only worried about like leveling up in a video game or something like that. So it's kind of like that weird comparison. What do you think about that, like when Hirotaka kind of goes off on like comparing how he lived like as an otaku, he grew up and like developed versus like Narumi? Like, do you think it's jealousy or like admiration?
It's um, probably would say it's more admiration than it is like jealousy in that sense because he's just admiring the fact that he's leveled up in life more than he's leveled up in himself. So he just can't help but kind of make those kind of comparisons because he feels like he's at that point where he's like I should be further ahead than in a way where I should be able to communicate better and just finding different topics and so on and so forth. And
Mm-hmm.
because looking at her, like she just knows what she's doing. She knows how to just live. You know what I mean? Like as opposed to how he is, where he's more reserved and you can say even shy to some degree, not really mess with people like that. So I mean, I can get the sentiment behind him when he feels like that because there was a time where I kind of felt the same way with how Hirotaka was feeling because I feel like that at one point to some degree. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't help but sometimes make those kind of comparisons. You're like, man, you're pretty darn good at such and such and such and such. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could do something like that. You know what I mean? So I can feel him. Like I said, it never really comes from a place of like jealousy or hate or any of that kind of stuff. It's just more of like I said, admiration and I guess you can say it's like a learning phase.
Mm-hmm.
You're learning and trying to see like so this is what you do. Interesting.
Yeah. I would say I definitely think it's admiration. I definitely think maybe there's like a tinge of like kind of like a self because with Hirotake it's kind of hard for me to pin him sometimes because he does kind of keep like a level like we don't see a lot of emotion out of him and things like that. But it's almost like the way he talks, it's like, like not necessarily saying like why am I not like this, but kind of like, that's interesting. Like how she's so different from me despite still being an otaku. But I just thought that was
Yeah, yeah.
interesting because I feel like we see that a lot. Hey LD. So yes. So they end up kind of chilling out on a bench to kind of rest their feet, or whatever. And then we kind of get hit with this weird moment when Narumi's like, okay, let's end it here. So I'm like, dang, she finna break up with him. What did he do? I'm like,
I hated that. I hated that so much. I was like looking at the TV. I literally audibly said, "What?" Like so I just screamed off. So I was like, "What is going on? How? What happened? Was the date that bad? Like when you Hirotaka get it together?" Like well, I was freaking out. I was like, "Come on, this can't be it already." I know we're on the like the ninth episode, but it's like, how you gonna say it's like a work all of a sudden? I was like. Why you say it like that? And then
right,
it looked all sad and everything too.
right.
I was like, bro,
I was really because I was just like, it was like caught me off guard, but I was like, maybe this is the way they're going. Maybe it's just gonna be like a sad ending. Maybe she's like, we're not clicking because she seemed dead like cut the cameras dead ass. Like she seemed for real, like about to. And I was like,
and
what the
I see. I
hell?
guess my theory then of him then once they break up, he jumps in the freaking street and hit by a bus. He's dead
Stop!
now. There it is.
Stop! You're gonna literally speak that into reality, and well, there's the OVAs. I was gonna say we finished it. We kind of know how it ends, but there's the
It's
OVAs
OVA, so
and the manga. We don't know how the manga actually ends. Um,
true.
but yeah, so but it turns out she's not referring to the relationship as we thought. She's referring to the deal that they had that they weren't allowed to talk about otaku stuff until they put it in the or they have to put money in the piggy bank. And you could see even here Otaku was like, what? And he was like, oh, okay. And so they kind of
Mm-hmm.
cut the like bet. And then Narumi is allowed to like blab about every single anime thing she's been holding in. And so Hirotaka kind of comes to the conclusion that after seeing Narumi look so comfortable being able and like relieved to be talking about that stuff, that this idea that like, oh, he has to like take it away because she has to be nervous or like they can't use that as a crutch, that it's silly and like it's fine that their relationships like this and like they bond over otaku stuff. So at the very end, Narumi surprises Hirotaka with a present, and the present turns out to be like earrings he can wear because in a previous episode we found out he had his ears pierced, and so he notices that she also has earrings that are very similar except in a different color. So it was kind of like couples earrings that she got for them to wear together, which was very, really cute. And she mentioned that hers are clip-ons, which I thought was really, really, that was very Narumi. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, so at the end, it was like a cute little ending where it was just kind of like they're just like understanding each other more.
yeah.
Yeah, so I
And
thought,
she actually tried a little bit too. She actually gave him a gift all of a sudden. So I was like, hey, there we go. Progression.
right,
Something. Something.
right, because
And
you
I
did.
needed to see that from her. All right.
Yeah, I remember that point you made it last stream when you were like, it seems like she just is being dated, but is not like putting like
Yeah.
effort into the relationship. So we're seeing a little bit of offense, I guess you would say, from Narumi. Like she's actually like showing things.
Oh, I
Um,
like there we go.
and
This is like a real relationship now. proud. I'm proud.
And I think it's so cute because I
Grand Theft
think.
Auto kills.
Wait, what did he say about Grand Theft Auto? Sorry, I just like.
You're quit. He said Grand Theft Auto kill screen. Is what I was saying. Like him getting hit by a bus.
All right, so wait, that wasn't even the was that the end of the episode?
I believe it was, right?
Yeah, so that was the end of the episode. All right.
It got me scared. So I'm like, what, did I miss something?
I'm telling you, my notes are janky. Like they're here, but they're janky. So for episode 10, oh my god, this is probably the fastest we've discussed one episode. Like,
That's true. That's true. I don't know. Like so far, not too bad. Not too bad.
all right, so for episode 10, while cleaning tables at his job, Now notices some dude playing a game, like on his like portable gaming device, and he's like, oh, I know that game because that's the game my brother likes to play. So he goes up to the person to try to like facilitate some conversation, but the dude gets scared and runs away. But while they're leaving, they leave behind a piece of paper. So it turns out, like after reading the piece of paper, Now realizes this person goes to his school. So the person who we later know, like we realize their name is Ko, is eating lunch. Like it kind of fast forwards to Now with sitting with his friends at a lunch table, and he notices the person, I should say, that forgot his paper behind at another lunch table. So he's kind of overhearing about this guy from his friends. They're kind of saying this guy is a loner. One of his friends went to the middle school with the same like middle school, I think, or high school with this person. So they're saying like he's a loner. He just like plays games and things like that. And so I think Now makes like this connection with his brother Hirotaka. He's like, oh dang, that kind of reminds me of Hirotaka. He was also alone. So he like immediately is like, I want to be this person's friend. Like he's like, I gotta like, yeah. And I think that's such a cute like personality trait. Like it's like you see somebody lonely and you're like, I gotta like be this person's like I know people like that, and I feel like it's just so endearing. Like especially because that person is virtually a stranger, so it's like you don't really need to be worried about them, but the fact that like via like feeling that sympathy from his like brother's situation and how he used to be, he really wants to reach out and be friends with this person.
Yeah.
So he goes up to this person who, so I just like don't get confused with the pronouns. This person's name is Ko. Now thinks that they're a guy, but they're actually a girl. So I'm gonna continue on by using she. I wanted to make it like a real them. But yeah, so he now goes over to Ko, sitting alone at the lunch table, and now returns the paper that Ko had dropped at the Starbucks that she was at earlier. And so like after returning the paper, Ko gets like really embarrassed and nervous. So Ko tries to leave, but before Ko can, Now's like, hey, like I would really like to be your friend. And so because Ko is gaming, she assumes that he means like, oh, like friends, like online, like online friends. Yeah, basically. So she's like, oh yeah, have my friend code. And so they kind of form a little like bond there. So it kind of goes to the next scene where Now is playing.
Before we go further.
Sure.
I want to read Andrew's comment real quick. He said, frankly, both of them don't really put an effort into the relationship. Kawakura and Kuyanagi have a better relationship than them. That they do, but they've been together longer, though. So you got to remember that. That's the first thing. Secondly, though, I wouldn't necessarily say that they don't both put an effort. Like, Hirotaka does he tries to progress. He's just not good at being able to progress with the relationship is the thing. And it takes two to tango. So if the other person's not really trying to progress the relationship or not really putting any effort, how can you truly move forward?
That's true. But I will say that with Hirotaka, I think a lot of it is the fact that he's kind of naive with this and he like, is not sure where to go. But I actually agree to say that like in terms of like actually pushing it forward, they're both kind of like meek in that sense.
Yeah, I mean they could both do better.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying like if you really look at it, it's like Hirotaka has been concerned about trying to. Let's like this episode for instance was that his concern that are we even really something? Like I want to be able to progress further into the relationship. Mm-hmm. That's what he was trying to figure out here. and he's trying to make those type of moves while we don't even know what's going on in her head. Like, we don't know what she's thinking when it comes to this whole thing. So
I
I don't know.
I think similarly. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I made a mention that Hirotaka's kind of hard to read, but Narumi's kind of hard to read too. But I also think like kind of like um Hirotaka has his naivety. I think um Narumi has her kind of like, what is it called when like obliviousness. So with her, like it's kind of
Mm.
like she can't, like she's like, okay, I'm in this relationship, but she doesn't realize like I should probably be doing certain things to like reassure him and things like that. Or and even like we see later in later episodes, she kind of has like a shyness about her too that I think is probably specific to like Hirotaka, because a lot of times she'll mention, oh, I did this in other relationships, but I'm not necessarily going to do this in this relationship, or I don't do it in this relationship. Like for example,
True.
later when she like comes over to cook. So I think maybe it's just because they had that prior relationship, they kind of don't know how to act like on both ends. So
Yeah,
it's a
actually, there was
bit.
another moment too. I think in one of the episodes where uh Hirotaka does like compliment her, or I don't say compliment her, but it's like an offhand compliment, and she's just like got befuddled and decided to like switch the subject all of a sudden. So you're right about that. You're right about that actually.
But I.
She is like shy when it comes to, I guess, her feelings towards him, and she's not
Mhm.
really good at projecting that, like her actual feelings, like how she actually feels to him, is what's going on here. Like, they're both not doing too good with this, man.
They both need help. That's probably why Kabakura and Koyanagi are like around the corner every 2 seconds, because they're like, we gotta help these kids. We gotta help these children. Um, yeah,
Even though their relationship, yeah, like I said, man,
that's true.
Kamakura, though, I don't know about that guy, right?
He's I liked him more in the beginning, but sometimes he annoys me. But he's not too bad. I think there was like a redemption moment later on. I think it's later in this episode, or it might be in 11. That kind of made me like him a bit more. But I also think he's like tsundere, so he's just like I think somebody said last time both of them are, but I think he really is. I think Koyonagi, she just suffers from being really cool and mature, that it seems like she could be like tsundere, but I think he's actually tsundere, because I feel like any of their affection is always like initiated by her, like rather than him,
Yeah.
unless he's like doing something tsundere, like calling her an old hag when she's crying. um but yeah.
When she's crying, you gotta put the last part in there, because god dang.
I will forever not understand what that scene was. She was like, "Ah, I think you hate me," and he's like, okay, you ugly hag, and she's like, "Ah, come to me." Like it was like, what?
I don't know. I don't know either. I'm just like, huh?
I was like, what is
What?
going on this here today?
You took that? I thought you didn't like that. What? We didn't progress here, right?
I guess it was like an unspoken thing. Their love is so deep. They have unspoken moments. Um, So yes, Nao decides to play that online game with Narumi, Kabakura, and Koyonaki in order to level up, so he can then like play with Ko. But like as they're trying to play, they're kind of like flopping. Hirotaka, he doesn't want to log on because he's playing another game, and so they're getting their butt beat by some boss. But then Ko comes in with her character and basically defeats it for them. So like she's really really good, and she had like this cute outfit, like she looked like a little, like a rat. Well, not a rat. She looked like a
What?
cockroach. She looked like a cockroach. She looked like a
Oh,
cyber
worse.
cockroach.
Oh
When she
god.
had the little things. That was so cute. So that was kind of that. So we have kind of this relationship that's forming between Nao and this new co-girl. And so for the second half of the episode, the plot is that Hirotaka, he breaks his glasses in the morning when he's getting ready for work. So he has to come to work without them. So he can't see, but it also makes him really, really, really hot.
So my question is, like, does he look better without the glasses? Like, what's your opinion on that?
All right, I've been waiting for this moment. Let me whip out my thesis on it. Okay,
Oh.
the thing about people who wear glasses on a daily basis, they're so powerful, especially if they already look good with glasses, because when they take it off, it usually takes them to the next level. I don't want to say he looked better with glasses, but it definitely was like, I see the vision. Like he didn't see anything, but I saw it. Like it was I was like, I can see, like, there was this whole idea that, like, he got hotter, and so girls in the office were, like, noticing him, and they're like, oh, did did you see Hirotaka and stuff like that? And Narumi gets like a little jealous. But I was like, I could definitely see like the difference of how you might not notice glasses Hirotaka, but then you're like,
Come
oh,
on.
who's this hottie? He looked cute.
So, comment section. Is she tripping? Is she tripping right now?
Did he look better with glasses or no? We're deciding this tonight. Like, I feel like he
I gotta
did.
know. I need a tally now. Like, all right, let's a straw poll at, all right?
Wait, I'm not that talented. Wait, do I have my polls up? My polls always go away if I don't use them for a while. Okay, I'll start a poll. But yeah, I feel like he looked better. And I thought it was like good because I was like, oh yeah, I can actually very much see the difference. But yeah.
Like I said, Exhibit A, Adult Gohan from Dragon Ball GT. I mean, he does look kind of whack with the glasses on. So when he takes it off, it's like, okay, cool. There we go. All right, this is why Videl liked him in the first place. Okay.
But that's why Hirotaka is so powerful because he looked good with the glasses on already. It's like without the glasses. Like the power level was too like I was like, oh snap, perhaps
It was over 9,000.
I was like, perhaps I see something. Perhaps now is second place is my favorite character.
Oh, snaps.
Yeah. So
clearly now.
So essentially like Narumi, she's jealous, so she's just like making a fuss over at her desk. Hirotaka can't see anything, like he's literally getting up into people's like corneas just to talk to him because he can't see anything. Like there's this one part where he's like Kabakura is like calling him over for something and he's like, I hear my name but I don't know who that is. So he literally like gets up close and personal to Kabakura just to like see that it's him calling him, and I was like, what? And Kabakura was like, ooh, like
Nagi was like, yes, yes.
Nagi, she stays on brand. She was like, yes, it's giving me something. So essentially what happened is that like Narumi is being distracted. Hirotaka can't see shit. So Kabakura is just like, y'all need to go get him some glasses. So they're excused and they go pick up like a new pair for him. And there's this really, really cute moment where she's like, how come, like, I feel like you're exaggerating, like having to move in close to people because you're not doing that with me. And he's like, well, I already know what you, like, I know you, so I don't need to do that. And I was like,
yeah, that was the moment I was talking about right there. It's like she's like, "Oh," got real nervous all of a sudden. She had like change subject because she's like, "Oh, snaps!"
it was so cute. Let's see. Oh, Leanne says, I actually kind of hate the trope where a character takes off their glasses and all of a sudden hot. And all of a sudden they're hot. That is so true. They use that a lot in like teen movies where it's like makeover, put down the ponytail, take off the glasses. You're now like from a 3 to a 10. That is kind of shady.
Like, come on now, like come on. All you got. I mean, to me, she was always like that. You just gotta put the effort to put something in there. Like get it together. That's all you gotta do, right?
Exactly.
I mean, this was much lazier though. This is just turn on glasses. Like, come on, really.
Is it bad though? Because I kind of was on board. I was like, yes, he did get hotter. Congrats. Let's do this. Oh, Andre agrees though. He said he did look slightly level up without glasses. All right. But the thing is, I don't want him without glasses because, first of all, that's too powerful. Second of all, I like him with glasses. I like that it's like he has a little, I don't know, it's a look. I feel like it fits with his personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that and the fact that he kind of has to wear them too. So, you know,
true. I thought it was funny because like Narumi was kind of playing herself because she knew she was jealous with the attention he was getting, but then she was like, oh, you're really popular in the office today, you might want to get contacts. I'm like, girl, why are you doing this to yourself? You know you would be dying.
Like, what are you doing?
You know you would be fighting all of them.
She was upset actually.
Yeah.
Like, she was upset. She did not like that at all.
She was trying to act cool with it though, which I thought was so funny. So what was I? He gets glasses. Okay, oh, no, yes. And so there's another, it kind of goes back to Now and Ko. So they're kind of, now that they like are getting to know each other more, they're playing together more, and like Ko and Now are logged on this online game, and Ko's trying to help like Now level up and help him like teach him how to like defeat this boss, but he keeps flopping and like losing and like getting defeated and stuff like that, and coming back to Ko being like, sorry, like I lost or whatever. And so, like, for a second, he goes to take a phone call. And so, while he goes to take that phone call, Hirotaka's nosy ass logs on. And so, he starts playing. And so, all of a sudden, he's really, really good. And Ko's like, what the heck's going on? And then, like, now comes back and he's like, what are you doing, Hirotaka? Kicks him off. And it's just like, oh, that wasn't me. That was my brother. Like, so, like, Ko's like kind of freaking out. And then, like, now it's like, you know what? I'm like, sorry. Like, I'll just drop out of, because they were doing like a quest together. He's like, I'll just drop
Yeah.
out of this quest. And Ko's like, no, like, I want you to play. I want to play with you. And so it was kind of this whole thing that, during like that whole like segment of them playing together, where like now is kind of like expressing this idea that like he doesn't want her to get mad, because usually when he plays with Hirotaka and he's bad, Hirotaka will get mad. So he's like really, really worried that, you know, Ko, also being a really experienced, great player, skilled player, is gonna get annoyed with him for being so bad. And I kind of, I don't know, it might have not been that deep, but I kind of felt sad that he kind of felt that way, like that pressure to be
Well,
good.
you gotta think about it. Like, as brother, they know each other for their whole life. So, he's growing up. He's here talking great at the game, great at games. Now, kind of trash. So it's like he never really leveled up when you try to play with him all the time. And he just like the thing is, the problem here is again, here talking trying to trash for this is that he didn't like try to truly help his little brother get better at games. Like
Mm-hmm.
like he just let him stay like that and just kind of like badmouth him like, oh, you're not good. You're just not good. I don't even want to play with you. So of course now he has like complex now where he's like, man, I can't be good at games. Like this, I'm bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying, but it just ain't working out. And you're real good, Cole. So I gotta bounce. I can't do that, right? I don't want to hold you back. And yeah, I mean, I felt it too. I feel a little sad about it because it's like it ain't right. Like but it ain't right. Like
Mm-hmm.
he is trying here. All right, and he just needs some guidance. Like watch. Maybe in the OVAs, he actually gets better in the games. Maybe because I want to see more of this relationship. Mind you, like this developing thing
Yeah,
that's going on with Cole now. I got truly invested in it, so I want to see more of what's going on with them. But
they're so cute.
I feel you. I feel you.
That's my favorite dynamic, like really like extroverted, like super hyper dude, and then like very, very like shy. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a dude and a girl, but like the dynamic between, I love that kind of like relationship dynamic. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like I kind of just like identified with now in that, because like I'm definitely usually when I'm playing any game the worst person there. Like I don't care if I'm playing with like a snail and a cockroach, like I'm going to be the worst player there. And so like it kind of is frustrating when you have people that aren't very patient with you and aren't like willing to know that, oh, you know, even if you like straight up say I'm not very good, just knowing that, like putting that out there, and they're still very like not patient with you, or you can see them express frustration. That's why I'm like deathly afraid to play anything online, because I've just seen like those horror stories of people being so mean if like whoever they, you know, get in a lobby with isn't good, because I'm just like, I'm very sensitive. I don't need that negativity. Like I'm just trying to have fun, whether I'm like the best player or the worst player. Like I find a game fun. So I don't know. I feel like I really identified with now in that regard. Like it's just like I don't like when people yell at me.
I don't like it either. I don't really play online either because it's pretty toxic as it is. Like if I'm playing online, I'll play it with my friends. Like, that's when I'm doing it. Otherwise, why the heck am I playing with some random suckers that's gonna yell at me all of a sudden because I
Mm-hmm.
ain't doing good enough? Like, I have the moniker of saying I'm not a gamer. Okay, like I stream. Yes, I play games, but don't expect great gameplay from me. All right, that's what I'm playing right now because
Same.
I'm not the gamer. Like in my family, I'm not the gamer guy. I'm the more entertainer, on screen, being goofy and all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
My little brother, my brother Ace, he's the gamer. He's the good one. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I get how he feels.
So you're now and he's Hirotaka. It's kind of switched.
Yes, actually, yes. Like if
Yeah.
I'm trying to play a fighting game with my little brother, it don't go well. He kicks my butt so bad. Like once he figures out what to do, like holy crap, it's not good. I'll
I
admit that he got me on there.
He's probably sitting back watching this like, yes, yes. I'm gonna jump
Facts.
into jump into the chat real quick. Um, Oh, Andre says the librarian thing where they let their hair down and take off their glasses and show a little cleavage. That's kind of annoying. LOL. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is. I wonder if librarians are like stop sexualizing us. Like they kind of like have like a anti-sexualizing your librarians like that. Because I feel like that's always like a weird like fantasy with the librarian, like your book is overdue, and then like they take it off, and I've definitely seen that a lot.
You
um,
almost got me there. I like to check out a book.
Andre says, dare I say it, that Ko is best girl just for that. She definitely, I want like. It sucks that we haven't
Yeah.
seen a lot of her, because I definitely think that she's going to be like a character I like. I just like her shyness and how like she's like, oh, here's this crazy now guy that's like all up in my grill saying he wants to be best friends, but I don't know. But also it's nice to have somebody to play with. So I definitely hope like, because I think they were talking about the OVAs yesterday and said that one's about Kabakura and Koyonagi and the other one's about Now um and
Excuse
Ko.
me?
I think so.
Really?
You guys can confirm. Let me not make any false promises.
Please confirm, because I will watch right after the stream. Then, if that's the case, I told you I'm invested. I think I like the relationship maybe more than the main cast. Maybe I don't know. I like them a
Hmm.
lot. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect to get invested like this, but I was like, yo, this is kind of nice. I want to see more of this.
I think I actually agree. Like, I think for me, I really like Hirotaka, so I think Narumi and Hirotaka are like my number one. But like Ko and Now, like they're definitely up there because they just have such a cute dynamic.
Yeah.
Um,
Cult and Hero met in real life in the manga, and now they are best tag team of all time. Wait, what?
oh really?
Oh,
That would be so cute. I was gonna say like I feel like they can like I would like to see them go head to head like of the two like Giga gamers in the group. Like I feel
exactly. Like, who
like
is actually better then? That's the thing.
true. Because the way she cleared, Ko was able to clear that beast, I feel like it was even more impressive than when Hirotaka earlier had, like, helped the rest of them out. So I got,
Also, she's better too. The fact that she not just only just like cleared out those monsters, but she even put a healing item on the whole party, so they can all heal up. So she's out here taking care of the troops. All right, taking care of the troops.
I give it to my girl Ko then. Oh, okay. Andre said, I can confirm this is correct. So we have a whole Now
Oh,
and Co moment. Uh-oh. All right. I know what I'm watching after the string as well. But yeah, that's just, it's such a cute dynamic. Like, first of all, I just love, I don't, what kind of like style of character would you call Now? Like very cute.
he's very extroverted. So I
Oh,
mean,
very extroverted. But is that like a type of character? I don't know. I don't, either way, I think he's just so adorable.
I mean,
Um,
technically, it kind of is like, because there is that whole extrovert, you know, super outgoing character that you have like in these slice of life animes, and then there's
mhm.
like, of course, the shy person, and then the more reserved people. So yeah, that is a dynamic and a character trait that is used commonly, of course, in shows here. So I would say it is.
Well, whatever it is. I love their dynamic. It's so adorable. Like they're so cute. Oh my god. But yeah, so did I finish that? Oh, yes. So yeah, you kind of get this whole thing where Ko is like, I'm not gonna get mad at you for not being very good. I have like, a good time playing with you, so I want to play with you. So that's kind of like the dynamic they have at the moment. So another note that I wanted to make is that so during the scene where Now is playing with Narumi, Koyonagi, and Kabakura, trying to level up, Hirotaka, he's in the background just like playing some other game, and like Narumi is like, you need to come in here and help your brother. I love how like she's like the mom to like two bickering siblings. She's like, you need to come in here and help your brother level up. And then Hirotaka mentions that, well, Now won't learn anything, like won't gain skill if you guys are just helping him or whatever. And I was like, I
Mm.
agree with that sentiment. And I actually hate, okay, I don't hate, let me not
Oh,
say that. I don't like when people offer to carry me in games because I don't like that. I want to like play it myself and like level up myself. I had a friend who like I like we wanted to like play together. We wanted to play Borderlands together. So we like, set like put together some time we could play. And so like we play very, very differently. And I think a lot of it had to do with because he already played the game. He was a very high level. So he was just like Tomb Raidering through everything and just like hurry up. And then like in Borderlands, when like one person kills somebody, the other person also levels up. So everyone he was killing, like I was getting like leveling up through via that.
Mm.
But I'm like, this is pointless because I can like follow you around and be this really high level and I would still suck. Like I'm not only trying to play, like we also had really different like styles because I wanted to kill everyone. He just wanted to do like whatever they were there for. But it's just like I felt like I wasn't gaining anything from him just like carrying me like that. Like I don't know. I found it like
You're literally on his back, all right?
exactly
The entire way.
not even on his back. He like tied me to his waist and I was just like dragging along face down. Like I was just like, this is not very fun. And I didn't want to be mean because I didn't want to be like, I don't want to do this because I don't like how we're playing and this isn't fun. But I was just like, after you were done, I was like, I think I'm gonna stick to like playing by myself or maybe somebody who's closer, just closer to my skill level. But I was like, you know, Hirotaka, he's spitting because I don't know. I don't really like the idea of being carried.
I mean, he does have a point. I get why he's saying it and why you shouldn't just hold a hand. But look, if they're beginning a game, you need to hold their hand at least a little bit in the beginning stages so they know what to do is the thing. You're actually supposed to teach them how to play the game. Some people are just not capable of playing certain games too. So you gotta also be mindful of that to see if they're even capable of even playing that game. But if they are, teach them a little bit of stuff and then walk off and let's see what they can do after the fact. I mean, my thing is his take is like, no, I ain't trying to help him at all because otherwise he's not gonna learn. It's like that's not how you should do it.
That's true.
You shouldn't feel bad about getting some guidance when you're playing something. Like again, going back to my brother, Genshin Impact. You see, I play that game a lot, right? And I be streaming it. I wouldn't be as good as I am if it wasn't for him because he's showed me quite a bit of things and showed me and taught me how to truly play that game the way I need to play it and make an actual massive damage. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I wouldn't be at that point if he wasn't actually helping me out from time to time. And yeah, he has super strong characters too. All right, he has incredibly strong characters. Like he goes to my world, he's smacking them in one hit and they're already dead. So it is what it is. He's doing some of my missions sometimes and stuff like that. So again, that's why I think I relate to so much because it's like I'm not like he's the younger brother, of course, but still it's like that same dynamic's kind of there. Where it's like, my older brother, my younger brother, he's really good at playing these games, and he can teach. But he's teaching me, he's showing me what to do, so I know what I'm doing. So like I said, you need there has to be some guidance there. No guidance at all is not the way to go. All right, it's just not the way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. I agree. Like, if you're gonna like play with somebody that like is newer or isn't as good or is a very lower level than you, make it like a teaching thing. Don't just make it like I'm gonna do all this stuff and you just sit there and watch. Like, because then I don't feel like I'm learning anything, and then I'm getting all these skill points that I didn't earn. So I feel weird. Not that I feel weird having them, but I'm just like I don't want people to assume that I'm a certain level because I have a certain I'm at a certain I'm actually that skill level because I'm there, even though I know that I was just carried. But I agree. I think there's like a middle ground where it's like I don't know. That's why Ko is so awesome because she's this high leveled skilled player, but she's willing to walk now through. Or did I say Ko's like this high player and like Hirotaka's just kind of like you're trash, goodbye. It's like all right, sir. Andre says, agreed. Definitely teach them how to play and don't just leave them hanging. That's rude. Yeah. I've said like that in Among Us especially. It literally grinds my gears.
Yeah. You're just talking about that.
Yeah.
Right. I remember this.
Hey, Andy. It grinds my gears when people will ask people or invite people to a lobby knowing that this is their first time playing and then don't give them any type of explanation or background. And then they're just like, you're a crap imposter. Well, I've never played this in my life. So quite frankly, of course I will be. Like, it's just like, why do people do that? It's so weird.
Yeah. I guess they assume because that game, it's easy. You're not really doing much. But being an imposter is not easy to do. Like I've been it many a times, and I'm still not that great with it. I'm trying my best to lie to you guys, all right? But it hurts. It just feels so weird trying to do it all. But Like that game, we all played together. Actually, I think a lot of you are actually in here that did play with us. So you saw how that whole thing went.
After everyone who was imposter got an imposter, except maybe like Chrissy, everyone was like, I hated that. I don't want to do that. That was hard. I was scared. I feel like all of us hated being imposter. But yeah, imposter is very hard to do well. And I feel like that's like I like for a while I played in like there was like a Discord that was just for like creating like Among Us lobbies, and so I was playing in that, and those people were so mean. Like if I got caught or I did like a crappy play, they were like, "Wow, you really thought that trash was gonna work? Trash!" And I was just like, "All right, I don't need my self esteem on this
you were
level."
getting hate then.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's why I'm so sensitive. I can't play with anyone. Now Hive, yes, now Hive is strong. Actually, we're kind of like we're just Nifuji Hive because I stand Hirataka and now like the brothers like they're so adorable. Like, I love them so much. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that because I was in my feelings about that. So that was actually all of episode 10. So up until now, did you have anything to add? Oh yes, we finished it in record time.
I know, right? We doing good. We plowing through this right now. I'm surprised. Right?
I'm trying to make sure we have good time to do the vote for
True.
new thing.
Okay. You
Okay.
already know that's gonna be chaotic. So
So I'm gonna go to episode 11. So episode 11 was kind of interesting because you kind of had this setup where you have the three couples kind of like interacting, but they were like splicing through the episodes. Like it was like, oh, here's the scene with Narumi and Hirataka. Here's the scene with Nao and Ko. So I'm just gonna explain it in terms of like full story. So I'm gonna just say the full thing that happened to Narumi and Hirataka, the full thing that happened to Ko. Okay, so with Narumi and Hirataka. So Narumi decides for the first time ever she's going to come to Hirotaka's apartment unannounced. And this is really nerve-wracking because it's in the afternoon. She knows that this was during like a vacation slash break. So she knows that he said he was going to play video games. She's not sure if she's going to be interrupting him. So she's just really nervous as to how he's going to respond. Let's break right there. Do you like it when people come to your house, friends, lovers, otherwise unannounced? Will you let them in? Obviously, non-pandemic times.
I mean, that happened not that long ago, actually. I mean, it was nice to see him and all, but I'm like, huh? What? I'm surprised. I wasn't ready. Yeah, I like to be prepared. Okay, so yeah, I don't like when people just be coming unannounced. Like, can you give me some time to prepare,
Exactly.
get myself together? Because I could be, you don't know what I'm doing. I could just be in my underwear laying down in my bed or something. I don't know. If someone comes over, then I have to get ready.
That's true. Especially if it's just like on a weekend or something like that. I plan chilling and not doing anything. So like if you come, like I love you down, but I was planning to do nothing today. So I'm gonna have
and then
to.
it takes the extra energy that you're trying to reserve yourself for another time. Now you got to use that at this time. And it's like, oh, God, socializing.
Yeah, honestly, and it's like I'm gonna be honest, 9.99% of the time my room is messy, so I'm gonna need at least some time to clean it before I let you in. So you're doing that you're gonna sit in the living room for about a half an hour, so enjoy that. But yeah, what you guys think in chat? Is it like, I'm gonna say, is it weird to come unannounced? And then also, would you feel uncomfortable if a guest stopped by unannounced? Would you actually let them in or not? I would have to say, I'll be like, oh, let's take a walk around my neighborhood, like, because you're not coming in there. Sorry, but let this be a lesson. If you want to visit my house, know that you have to tell me first.
Well, how much time then? How much time?
Well, this is the thing. If it's like one of those like Saturday morning, hey, I want to swing by, then give me like 3 hours because I have to mentally prepare to social.
You said 3 hours. Well, I expect that. That was kind of long.
I need 2 hours to mentally prepare, and then 1 hour to clean my room.
I really clean this room. I see.
This is a lie. I'm exposing myself.
Wallpaper.
Right. It's like a virtual background, guys. I'm exposing myself. That's the truth.
Oh, you got a really good green screen right now. That's very impressive.
Yeah. Latest technology on Twitch. Sorry. Andy says, I mean, in Narumi's case, it was good that she came over. True, because we learned that he was basically dead.
Yeah, I know, right?
Andre says, hell no. I would feel, oops. Andre says, hell no, I hate that. I had some former friends just randomly show up at my house and they get into an argument at my crib. Like, something.
Wait, huh?
I'm sorry,
What?
they showed up and then started scrapping? I'm so confused. So why? Wait, it became the Bad Girls Club in your house all of a sudden. What?
What was all that? We need backstory.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna need more. Like, were they fighting with you? They were getting in an argument with you or with each other? We need more details. Andy says, but yeah, it's weird and inconsiderate. Swig says, I would feel so uncomfortable. I would still invite them in because manners, I guess, but mentally I hate being blindsided like that. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I need time. Even if it is just like a call in the morning because you want to come in the afternoon. Also, it's really, but that's in itself is really weird. Because that's kind of like inviting yourself over to somebody's house. Like, hey, by the way, get ready because I'm going to be sleeping on your couch in about 4 hours or something like that. Like, it's like, the hell you are not? Like, what? Like, I don't know.
But see, what if it's like, significant other though? That's trying to
The
do that.
hell you're not. I feel like if they were my significant other, they would know. If they were well, I don't know if my close friends know that because they've never tried that. But I feel like anyone who like has I've invited over at least once and know them for a while, I feel like they would know not to do that. But maybe not. Maybe they're just like, oh, I'm coming over. I don't know.
Trying to hit up Jazz so she can do it, see what happens.
Probably Jazz because we live together, so she already knows that I can be messy.
So I guess you're not even gonna care then. She's like, oh, hello, all right, come on in.
But well, okay, I feel like that's if I had time that day, I'd be like, okay, come over. But if it was like again a situation where I had planned to lay on my couch, eat chips, and rewatch Death Note or something like that, then I'd be like, sorry, I have like really plans that I can't get out of. They're really big. That's what I would go
They're
with.
really big. It's like a lion.
To me, they're big to me.
Big fight.
Leanne says, I would not open the door until the place looked somewhat clean. Yeah, they just have to stay out on the porch. I'll get them maybe a glass of lemonade, but yeah, you're not gonna
Make sure they're still hydrated out there in the hot sun. All right,
exactly.
nice.
Exactly. Andre says they started arguing with each other over some petty shit. They were in my room and the argument was so awkward that I left my room and even my grandma could hear the argument. Yikes.
Why are they in your room arguing and then make you leave? Like, what is this? Get this guy. Get them out. Get them out.
They're like, move, Andre. Anyway, they're like standing on your bed. And another thing, when we were at McDonald's, you ordered 3 things from the chicken menu, and I said,
What are you talking about? God dang it.
like, it's like, all right, excuse me, I'll be in the bathroom. Swig said, like, even a basic, hella random, but I'm stopping by even like 30 minutes before is better than ding dong, I'm here unannounced. That's true. That's true, yeah. I would say 30 minutes would get you some time in the living room. 3 hours, we're actually hanging out, maybe chilling in my room. But any less, you're going to be on the porch. I'm going to set out some lawn chairs. I'll bring out, some cookies, maybe some Oreos, the birthday cake flavor, and some lemonade, and we can just chill out on the porch for a short period of time.
Actually, they don't even sound that bad. I won't even lie. If you're doing all that, then why the heck not that? All right.
For 30 minutes, and then I'm going to kick you out.
Oh. At least I got some snacks though.
And then I'm gonna take the snacks back. I'm gonna send you a Venmo request and be like, "This was for the Oreos. You owe me $3.39."
No, wait a minute. Hold up. Now I gotta pay. If I came over, okay.
Exactly.
What about my gas money? You're
gonna have to pay me for your gas money. I don't care. That doesn't make sense. You're gonna have to pay me for my time. I'm literally the worst friend.
Now we fight. Now we're gonna go in your room, get on top of your bed, and start arguing.
Quit says go to lift the couch and clean the bathroom, rake the leaves in both the front and the backyard. See, that would at least take like an hour, 2 hours. So like that person's going to be the porch.
Work actually.
Exactly.
Like,
raking the backyard for what? Yeah, right. You're gonna see these leaves.
Why are we even doing that? Like who's coming over? Freaking the expectors? Like who? Here.
Beyonce is coming over, so we have to make sure it's clean for her.
I mean, if it's Beyonce, then yeah, you got a point there.
That's
Actually, yeah.
true. She doesn't have to pay for the lemonade and the cookies. Andre says, though I will say that with certain people, I will say drop by whenever, but with the previous situation, I had actually went out earlier and wasn't expecting guests. So they came over. I was like, what? Ooh, that's the worst. If I just came back from going out, even if it's just like to the corner store, to the 7-Eleven to get like, I don't know, a Monster Energy drink, I need to unwind after coming back out. So I'm not ready immediately to take, like, if we're meeting each other at my door, I'm gonna like, that's cute for you. I'm gonna be upstairs. You go ahead, maybe take a couple laps around the neighborhood and check back in with me. Because no,
Well,
that's
I
weird.
always needed the exercise. Yeah.
um, yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it was very weird. But so she's
Blame the
going,
mother. She's the one who's if she order these cleanings back talk. You get the cancer.
ooh, the
What?
chancla. That's funny. Oh, when people come over. Oh yeah, that was always for me too. Like if we were having a lot of gas, my mom was like, okay, we're doing like a thorough house cleaning in the morning before the guests arrive. Even if the house is already clean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
gotta
see,
be
I mean, I
spotless.
understand doing that. I understand doing that because you know,
Hmm.
then you at least see that's an expected like time frame. You know, someone's gonna come over because they
Hmm.
probably announced it like a day before, so you get time to really start cleaning. So I understand doing that then, especially if you have a lot of people coming over. That's understandable. But like, what is one sucker decided to come to your house, like giving you 30 minutes to just get ready? Like, how are you supposed? What are you supposed to do then? What are you supposed to do then? Come on.
That's true. So we have to have you have to have a certain window. You have to call at least a day in advance because it's also plans. Like you come through and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, but I'm in Wisconsin and you're trying to come to, Ohio. Like that don't make no sense. Like you need to tell me ahead of the time. Um, but yeah. But yeah, so Narumi, she's like really nervous because she wants to stop by Hirotaka's house unannounced in the afternoon, knowing that he was gonna game all day. But she brings snacks. She comes up with a plan. She's like, if he seems annoyed, if he seems like I'm bothering him, I'm just gonna like leave the snacks and dip. So she ends up going over, and when she comes in, he's literally like passed out, looking like a whole corpse on the ground, and she's like, what the heck is going on? So she like runs over to him. She's freaking out, and it turns out that he hasn't eaten for a couple days, I believe, because he was like spending the whole time like playing games, and he just literally forgot to eat. So she's like, what is wrong with you, clown? And so like he gets all like dressed up, he goes to like take a shower, and while he's doing that, like getting prepped and fresh and everything, she's like, okay, I'm gonna cook you a meal. So she calls like Koyonaki, kind of telling her what happened, how she found Hirotaka like dead on the ground. Koyonaki's kind of laughing, and then she talks about how she's gonna cook him a meal. So they're kind of just going back and forth how she's cooking this meal. Koyonaki's kind of teasing her because she's like, look at you doing all like these domestic girlfriend things and all that stuff. And she was like, what, you think I've never done this before? She's like, well, I never did it for Hirotaka, but I've cooked for a boyfriend before. So he doesn't have, she's like looking around his place and he doesn't really have anything. Like she's like, there's like bacon and onion, like a bacon and an onion in the refrigerator, and that's it. But she like,
Delicious.
but she manages to find some like, instant rice. So she ends up making that for him. And so um
Forgetting the one important part about all
oh,
that cooking time that was happening.
wait, what?
Hirotaka walked out the bathroom naked.
Oh yes, we get a Hirotaka flash. He's just chilling. He's like, "Oh, I need a towel." He walks through the living room and he's just naked, and she's like, ah, put a towel on, which I thought was really funny. I was like, I could kind of see it coming. I was like, he's gonna come out naked, and there's gonna be a moment. But the way they handled it, I thought she was gonna be like, but she kind of was just like, oh,
Yeah,
put a damn towel on. Like she like,
she got mad. She's like, "Sucker, why are you doing this?"
yeah, I was like, dang, I did not expect it to go like that. Um, so because Hirotaka basically this whole like vacation weekend, I think it was a weekend, it might have been a week, he's been crammed up like playing video games. Narumi's like, okay, after this we have to like go on a date. Like we have to go out on a date. So the date ends up to them just being like walking around their neighborhood. Um And so when they like are walking around the neighborhood, they find a park to kind of like stop at. And so just looking at like all the like parks, like the swings and the monkey bars and things like that, Narumi kind of grows nostalgic. She's like, oh, remember playing on the monkey bars and doing pull-ups on like the monkey bars and swinging on the swing. And so again, we kind of have that moment of comparing and contrasting how Narumi grew up and how Hirotaka grew up. Because Hirotaka mentions that he would never go to the park because he didn't really have friends, but also he would use that time to go gaming. And even like he wouldn't, like they mentioned that he wouldn't go on family vacations with his family to places because with his family gone, he was like, oh, this is prime time to just like sit down and game, because my
Like, truth
family's
be told,
gone.
that's kind of trash though. Like, come on. You're not gonna go on a vacation with your family, like see
That's
something else
true.
going on. It's
That's
like you can't
true.
game while you're there. Like, come on. What are
True,
you
get a
doing?
portal, bring your DS or something like that. He even mentions that he's like, oh, it doesn't matter, I didn't go because Nao would go, so he would have fun for the both of us. I was like, come on, like,
Yeah, that's
get
come
out
on.
there. But again, it was like a sad moment of him like, well, I just was like by myself playing my video games, so I don't know I was surprised though that it was like that severe that he didn't even go to parks. Like that was like
Yeah.
prime kid stuff. I felt kind of
Granted,
sad.
I'm just curious. Like, when it comes to the parents, like, why did they just let him be at? Why leave him at the house by himself? How old was he at that time?
That's
Too?
kind
It's
of true.
like what was happening here?
Wait a second. We gotta talk to the Nefuji parents because what are y'all doing right now? Well, maybe it was like that thing where maybe he like if he made a fuss out of it, they were just like, okay, fine, you can stay home because they maybe didn't want to like fight or cause a scene.
Man, if I did that, I get slapped so fast and we going. Like, you don't get a choice like that.
Slapped and you're there. You're like, oh, okay, we're going on vacation. But honestly, though, I like Narumi's response to it because instead of just letting him be like, "Oh, I was like the weirdo who didn't go on the vacations and stuff like that," she was like, "You know what? But you're kind of right, though. It was really, really like that was a good time to play games, and it's really is fun to play games." So they kind of like bond over, how playing games and kind of like shirking hanging out with people to just like have a weekend of like cuddling up on vacation and like getting through your favorite game is fun. So I just liked how she
Yeah.
like was like, you know what? I kind of agree with you even if I didn't like live that life one to one. I agree. It's
It's
a
a
fun
different
thing.
perspective and a different way of living at the end of the day. And she kind of understands that, which is kind of it's nice to see because again, understanding your boyfriend is a really good thing to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you progress in your relationship. Also, anime. This anime is on Amazon Prime, right? Right? That's where you're watching this, I
Yes.
believe. Okay,
Amazon
thank you.
Prime. Do
Okay,
they
looking for it. That's where it's at.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Oh, and also Andy asked, and the bacon, or said, and the bacon and onion was Now's, right? Yeah. So when Narumi's kind of like flaming him, and she was like, "You ain't have anything in here." There was just like bacon and onions in the refrigerator, and he was like, "What? Oh, that's not even mine." Now likes to cook when he comes over here. So like, I'm like, so you just got an empty fridge as a grown man? Oh my gosh, shaking my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
So
what is he doing when Now's not there? That's my question.
probably DoorDash, probably Postmates or something like that. He's probably not eating any instant ramen. That's probably what he's eating. Mess. But yeah. So at the end, Narumi's like, oh, like, well, they kind of decide that they're gonna go home and like have like a night in watching anime and things like that and eating dinner together. And so they kind of run home because Narumi remembers that one of her like favorite voice actors is going to be on TV for like some variety show. So they kind of just like run home and it's like a cute ending where it's like, oh, otakus doing otaku things and being okay with that. So that was kind of where the story ended for them for that part. Um, so on the other hand, I thought this was a really interesting portion. We have Koyonagi and Kabakura are hanging out at their house or whatever. And so their whole scene or like debacle whatever starts when Koyonaki she finishes a boys love series manga that she was reading, and she's like, oh, this was good, this was like, I thought it was just gonna be the smutty stuff, but it ended up being like a really good plot. And so Kabakura is kind of like, oh, like whatever, like why do you even like that stuff, like isn't like, I know like it's smutty or whatever, but isn't like a girl and guy good enough? And then so it's actually kind of interesting because she's like, well, what if I said like the same thing about Yuri? And then all of a sudden he's like, excuse me, like kind of like
Mm.
offended, and then she's like, exactly, look at you. She's like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like everyone has their own fan base. That's why this stuff like this exists, because people like it. So like, you know, why does it matter like if I like it or not? Like just essentially just like mind your own business or whatever. And I think that's so interesting because a lot of people will like crap on like a genre or something like that. But then when somebody tries to flip it on, it's like, well, your genre's trash, and they're like, oh, but, and it's like that's why tastes are differing. That's why there's a bunch of different things because people
And
like
it's
different
funny that
things.
people say that stuff too, because you guys gotta remember, like, it's like I don't indulge himself into these type of like into that genre at all. So how can you say something's even bad to begin with? You don't know what's even going on over there.
That's true. That's true. You see one thing that you think you won't like, and then you just judge the whole story based off that. Like, and I feel like that's a lot of people because at the end of the day, most boys love like shows. You know, there's like the ones that are smutty, but there's the ones that are just romances. It just happens to feature two guys. But people on the notion that it features two guys, people shut it down. Like, there was this manga that my friend put me in on, I think it's called Blue Flag, and like when you read it, there's like a couple LGBT like aspects of it, but when you like read most synopsises, they don't mention that, and so a lot of people will
Hmm.
read it, realize that there's like elements of it, and they're like, oh, and so they might be feeling it, and then it like comes to that pivotal point, and they like will read it. But I feel like a lot of people, if it like presented itself as there's going to be a guy who likes another guy or a girl who likes another girl, they might not even look at it, and it's just like, but they're just stories. Like, why is that such a like a like it could be about anything, like
That
really.
tells me that's not even the vocal point of the manga, is it? Like they're not
Yeah,
even like that's not like.
I mean the romance or the love story, I shouldn't even call it a love story. That relationship is a big focal point, but it's like, I don't know. It's just like a love story. Like I don't even know how to like
Hmm.
put it in any way. Like I know there are a lot of people who would see BL and be like, "Oh, I'm out of here." But then if it was like this person falls in love with this person, they're like, I might give that a chance." Like, you know, it was basically kind of like a struggle because I don't know if this is a spoiler, but one character likes another character essentially, but that character is not interested because he's
Oh
not
no.
interested. Yeah. So it's kind of go how like the characters struggle with that. But it's like basically an unrecruited love story, and it's very beautiful and stuff like that. But I know a lot of people, they would see the BL label or like the Yuri label, GL label, and they'd be like, not for me, yikes. And so it's just like, you know, that's why I kind of like this whole segment. I'm gonna wrap it up, but like it kind of shines light on the fact that it's like, why are you trusting something if you never saw it? Kind of like what you just said. Like if you don't know what the story's even about, how can you shut it down so easily? You know. Um, but yeah, so they kind of go back and forth and debate why Kabakura won't try BL, and then like Koyonaki kind of hits him with the fact that Narumi had told her that she had given Hirotaka a BL manga to read, and he read it and then just gave her opinion on it. So she was like, "Wow, you can't even read it, but Hirotaka could," and blah blah. And then Kabakura is like, "Well, he'll read anything. He doesn't have like specific taste when it comes to manga. He only cares about games." But eventually, he breaks down. He's like, "All right, hand it over here. Like, give me the least smutty one, and I'll read it or whatever." And so at the end, after he reads it, he's literally crying, and he's like, "That was so beautiful. It's just like a shoujo manga. Like, this was actually really good." So it was kind of just like this story about like don't knock it till you try it, and I thought that was really cool. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I guess my question to you then is, have you ever like indulged or watched any type of manga or read any manga or watched any like anime that was like Yuri based at all?
Um, so I remember watching some of Strawberry Panic, but I don't think I watched all of it because I don't remember what it's about. And I know that was a Yuri. I tried watching Citrus, but at the time I didn't know that. So I knew it was, I didn't know it was a Yuri slash girls love. But like I stopped because it was a weird incest plot. See, this is the thing that gets me. I feel
Oh,
like
oh, come on,
Yuri's
really?
just be, yeah, they just be throwing that weird. It's just like, girl, why?
Why?
Like, just make it.
Why?
But I like honestly, I can't really think of a lot. Like maybe yeah, I'm totally blanking because I don't know. Like, not that like I don't do or don't seek it out or whatever. It's just like I've never like come like I can't really think of really popular, well known ones. All I really know is Strawberry Panic, which is years old, and the Citrus one because I was like, yeah, no. There's probably. Can you guys think of any good like Yuris? I don't
Like
know.
to be honest, yeah, I'm kind of baffled too because I don't really know too many Yuri mangas or animes out there. Really, there's actually a lot more BL than there
Yeah,
is Yuri in my
definitely.
opinion from what I've been seeing.
Because I'm trying to see like who's like. I think like especially that we don't see a lot of anime from the manga because I'm sure that there's like probably like a niche of like uh manga, but they're probably not made into anime. And I probably think maybe they don't have a as big fan base because I know like Yuri or Yaoi is fueled because like young women like I forget what they call them love that. So like and when you can get a fan base of young women, you're like set because like they'll throw money at that and stuff like that. So like they tend to have like a huge like following like different genre. But I agree. Like I can't really think of any like well known. I don't know. What is chat saying?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking at right now. It's like, what are they saying here? They saying Bloom's also one.
Oh my god,
Let me see.
Revolutionary Girl Utena. Yeah, that was one. I didn't watch that whole thing, but with the pink hair. Is it Utena
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Utena? Yeah. Her and Anthe, I think. There's like a Yuri aspect of that. Um I've
Interesting.
heard of Bloom Into You for a Yuri, but I haven't checked it out. Is that a recent one? I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that one at all either, actually. So, like, it's funny because like a lot of these series that you guys are bringing up, I actually not watching any of them, so it's odd. It's odd. It's unfortunately, I mean, I won't say unfortunately, but I have actually read and even watched some, BL like
Mm-hmm.
stories and stuff like that. And I had a friend that was even like writing stuff like that too, because she made fan fictions and everything. So, that's kind of what she wrote. But I was, supporting friend, trying to help her out and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. So I read her work and everything. It's really good. It was some really good stuff. Like she knew what she was doing with the writing, and then, you know, that's how I kind of ran into some other freaking BL shows. Like Mirage Blaze is one of those ones where it's in there. There's smut in that one though. And it's just like, yo, what the heck? Calm down. All right, but
I know
it's not bad.
Banana Fish has like a I think the two main guys, whoever that I haven't watched it, but I know a
Yeah,
lot of
I
people
believe so.
sing the praises of that. So that's another one. And then there's like the typical Sekai no Hatsukoi? Sekai, the world's greatest first love, Junjo Romantica, stuff like that. Gravitation. I think that was the first one I ever watched. That one's more. These aren't. I guess you could say the other two are kind of smutty. I think there's like kind of like sex scenes in those, but like not explicit. But like Gravitation's very pure, I think. But
Mm.
yeah, there's Yuri, Kuma, Arashi. Oh, let me look
Yeah,
at
see here,
that.
you going down the list now. Look at
Yeah,
this.
I'm
You're
like,
blank for the Yuri, but you like, all right, let's go. Okay. V elbow. Okay.
I really haven't heard of any of these. Like, I feel like so out of the loop because usually stuff just fall into my lap and then I'll just watch it. Like, I don't really seek much. The only thing that I probably seek is like mystery, psychological type anime because I really love those. Everything else just falls in my lap, and I'm surprised that there's not very a lot that I've heard of or watched or anything. Um, but I also thought it was interesting because I know Kabakura, they had like a point in like one of the earlier episodes where he was like embarrassed to show his manga selection. And so I guess the whole thing was that he just liked shoujo manga. Cause I wasn't sure if it was like, oh, he's like into like high school or like elementary school girls or something like that.
Please,
But
please. Look,
it's
I don't even want to like think of that because there's a chance. All right.
yeah, I was like, oh, excommunicating him. But I think it's just that he is like, oh, a grown man who likes shoujo manga. Like that was his kind of thingy. So I think that was it.
Yeah.
Because I think he was like, oh, it's just when he was crying at the end after reading the BL series, he was like, oh, it's just like so shoujo manga. So I thought that was a little cute thing. Just like a testament to like you should give things a try. Whether or not I think my thing I am to like extra extra ecchi shows like what Kabakura is to BL, I guess. Like I don't mind. Like obviously it's K or not K-pop. Oh, it's anime. So like there's gonna be like jiggle physics and things like that. But I just hate where it's like too much to the point where I'm just like, all right, like come on, dude. Like when it's just like, okay, this actually could be a decent plot, but you're just cramming it too much. Like who is the little girl? I shouldn't say little girl, but who is the one on Fire Force where her clothes ripped off every time she
Oh,
exhaled?
yeah.
People were dragging her. Was it Tamaki? I think her
Yeah,
name is.
Tamaki. Yeah, you actually got it right. I'm surprised you got it right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watched like the first season ish, let me be honest. But I remember when that would happen, I was like, oh, okay. Like it would be serious fights and like half hour, and I'm like, enough. Like this show is good on your own. You
Yeah.
don't need that gimmick. But sometimes
I
it's
don't
just
know why
like,
they did it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually one of the things that kind of drags the show a little bit down for me because, like, I need her character to be better, and of course later on she finally starts to get a little bit better.
mm-hmm.
But it's like that trope for her is still there, and I don't know. It's a little annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's just like come on now. Like it's not necessary. If you want to do some extra, there's other ways you can do it. Like they did some stuff with Maki, and like hey, that's fine,
Yeah, Maki
right?
has a little bit of like she leaning over and stuff like that. It's very like tasteful or what? Not tasteful, but it's like okay, yeah, she's an attractive like character, or whatever. But yeah, for Tamaki when she's like half naked in the middle of a fight, I'm like, girl, not even girl. Whoever wrote this, like, come on, like you don't need. This is a great
She's
show.
the typical character is a thing.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
literal trope that they have,
Oh
and
my
it's
God. Yeah. There was a scene where she was like in the kitchen cooking or something and she like tripped over and like all her clothes fell. I was like, you need help. Like we need to get you a therapist or something because why is this happening? Like I was so confused. But yeah, there was also like a show that I was watching on Netflix and it was like a every like I got dropped in this like world where everyone's dead and I have to kind of survive like that kind of show and then it was like really cool but they just had kept on having these weird gratuitous like panty and booby shots. I was just like okay, I can't do this because it was also like one of those things where they juxtaposition it with like pain and like getting shot and stuff, so I was like okay, this is weird, I don't like where this is going, so I stopped.
it almost sounds like you watched High School of the Dead, but I'm not sure that's the
No,
show.
no, it wasn't that. It was like because it wasn't like zombies. It was like they were like these masks. I don't know because I only watched like first 3 or 4 episodes, but I mean it looked really cool. It was like this idea that they were dropped in this world and there were like these agent things that they weren't going to kill the people like the players in the world, but they were going to, if you stay there long enough, they would convince you to kill yourself essentially. And so the only
Okay.
way you could escape the world was that like every night there was a helicopter that landed on the top of this like building in the middle of like the city, and they would take one person, like if you could get in the helicopter they would take that one person away, and you could go to salvation or whatever. But it was like you not only have to avoid these like agents that they have around, but like everyone else is trying to kill each other too because it's just like no outlaws, no real world. I forget what it's called, but I was just like enough, like
A lot. That plot sounds really good. Like,
right.
but
I was
the
disappointed.
ecchi aspect sounds kind of like random as heck. So why is that there?
I don't know. Welcome back, Judello. Yes. Okay. Our question is, what do you guys feel about ecchi? If you don't like it, how much ecchi is too much that you're just like, no? Because I think the reincarnation of a baby or some loser reincarnation, jobless
Reincarnation of a
reincarnation. Yeah.
oh,
That
makes me want that show.
teetered. That
Yeah.
teetered. But I was like, this is too good. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I haven't finished it yet, so maybe it gets bad. But I was like, this
Nah,
is
that show
teetering.
just gets better actually. It gets better, and
Okay.
they do kind of dial it down a little bit with ecchi. So yeah, actually, yeah, you're gonna be good. Like the
Okay,
show,
that's
yeah,
good.
like how the characters are, and especially how he got reincarnated, like the sucker just a
Yeah.
goddamn pervert, So it's like it is a lot on that end. I'm not gonna lie, but there's so much more to the show that it got me hooked because of that. Not necessarily because of the main character necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much more to it. Though the main character is interesting in of itself because of just how we actually see this isekai show where
Mm-hmm.
he's just literally born into when you see his actual life growing up and everything. So it's a whole different take that I don't normally see with isekais, and I watched a lot of them at this point. So that's why I'm impressed with it.
Yeah. And I think it's like somebody's gonna probably drag me, but I'm like not every main character has to have, or like character doesn't always have to be a character who's their one of their personality traits is like a pervert. Like I feel like that's like used so much, and like with him it's
Yeah,
just like I get it because he's like he was like kind of like, well, not necessarily just because you're like a neat or anything you're like a pervert or whatever, but like he maybe didn't have a lot of contact with women or something like that. But I'm like, ugh, when he gets in that
yeah,
pervert, because he's so cool either way. Like otherwise, like the fact that he's taking this chance to like live his life in a different way and really like, okay, I didn't like how my life was, but I'm gonna use this life to like overcome like some of the traumas I had. from my past life and like really like take advantage about the fact that I was given this second chance, but then he's like weird and perverted, so it's just like
Yeah. I
um
mean, going back to your original question, though, you said like how much is actually is too much. It really depends ultimately for me, where if the actually has a actual reason for it being there, then I don't mind it. But I don't like when it's just random, like literal random shots. The girl's just walking up all of a sudden, and it's just like it's that male gaze type of thing where it's just like it's on the butt or something or on their chest, and then
mhm
it pans up to her face or something. Like I hate when they just constantly have those type of shots constantly in the show, or they just keep doing it.
mhm
Like one of the shows I was watching not that long ago, it's called Gafnir. The show's actually really good. I was surprised at how good the show was. I didn't expect it to be as deep as it ended up getting. But one of the crutches to that show is the fact that one of the main characters, the girl that's there, she's like always naked. Is the thing. Now that is a trope, I will say, that's there and it's necessary because there's a reason for it. But not always. There are these moments where she's just naked, just to be naked, and I'm just like, why though?
oh gosh,
And
yeah.
it can get annoying. It can be a bit distracting at times.
And it also is like it makes it so you can't really recommend sometimes like a good
Yes.
otherwise good show because it's like oh like what we're like friends chilling at the crib and you're like oh what do you want to watch and you're like oh this is a really good show but there's that weird part and that other weird part and that third weird part and the one time when they did this and that never mind let's just watch Death Note again or something like that like it's like really becomes really really awkward.
And my
uh
greatest one that I can never recommend, unfortunately, because the show's really good, but that Ecchi in there, it makes you look suspect. But it's the show's called No Game No Life. I don't know if you ever seen that show, but
it
it's
I know of it. I didn't watch it. The one with the white girl. I mean,
yeah.
not the white girl. The girl with the white hair and her
Oh,
brother.
yes. Yeah, and they're two gamers and stuff. Yeah. The white girl, yeah, the girl with the white hair, yeah, bunch of Ecchi. She's just a small little child, right? And it's just like there's a bunch of Ecchi on there, and I'm just
Oh
like, here we
no.
go.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
know. As I said, it makes you look suspect, but the show good. All right, the plot outside of that, the show's really actually good. The plot actually it's dense, but god dang it, why is that there? It's like I hated those moments. I was like, please stop. Like, what is their
That's the
obsession with
worst.
doing this kind of crap? Like, please. It's
Yeah.
between that and goddamn incest. Like, why do they keep having to throw incest into shows that don't need incest? I can't hurt my goddamn feelings knowing that Usagi drop turns into an incest story, and it just like that child. It's a literal child.
Ah, okay.
That decided to
Yeah.
grow.
Gross.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It sucks. It's like you guys are not doing yourself any favors. Like this could be a lot more palatable if you would just take that stuff out. But then there's people who are literally like kill you and be like, stop trying to change it. It's like it needs it or whatever. Like it has to like just go watch something else if you don't like it. And it's just like, okay, that's
I do
not.
have a slight unpopular opinion though on that because I will say this.
Ooh, unpop
I
opinion.
will say this. I know. You know, they no one activated it, but I will say this. The thing with anime, that's one of the things I really actually like about it is the fact that it can tell pretty much any story and can do just about anything, and it's literally for anybody.
hmm
Now, because of this, we have stuff like the incest and other things that we see within anime, and it can be a bit of a an issue with that stuff. But at the same time, at least that we can, it still garners the fact that we can still get different types of stories and something that's unique to its own because of this, because there's so much freedom to be able to do like a different type of story in that matter, even if it has some of that stuff in there here and there. You know what I mean? Like
hmm
it's like a double-edged sword that comes into play with this stuff is the thing. So it's like I appreciate the fact that we can pretty much do any kind of story, but at the same time, we don't always have to tell these type of stories because, like I said, some of these tropes constantly get used too much is the problem here. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not ever saying like to pretty much exit all out, but we need less of some of
Yeah.
the stuff that they do is my thing. That's all I'm saying.
No, because the thing is, I think a lot of times with the pushback when people complain about etchy and like the booby physics and everything like that, there's people who like, go with the like, oh, well, like this is like the story or whatever, or this is how it is, so like whatever, whatever. But then it's also like, well, if you took that out, would it even be interesting to watch? Because that's when my problem is like if it's just if it's a story that just like relies on the fact that hey we have cute girls and boobies then I'm just like well like it's not really high praise. Like not that I watched it, but that girl with the skin fang and the gray hair and the big boobs or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Uzaki Chan wants to play or something.
Oh, he's talking about, I think what he's talking about. I think I know what he's talking about. I didn't
Yeah.
watch the show though, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Me either, but like there was like a whole debate because it was this character. It was like this girl. I think so. I wish I could. It was like this girl with this like she had like a large chest and she had like gray short
Oh,
hair.
I remember now. She has like text on her shirt, right?
Yeah.
And she looks like a goddamn kid, but she's not actually a kid. It's like they
Yeah.
were kind of conflicted with that, and they were hating on her design basically because it's so plain. I remember this now. I remember what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
And there are a lot of people who are like, it's weird because like clearly like she's gonna be sexualized or whatever, but she looks like a kid, so people have problems with that. And then there are a lot of people who are saying, get your Western ideals, blah blah blah, like that whole kind of thing where people do.
Yeah,
And then it was just like, okay, but you don't even know this is like you're defending this with like your everything, but you don't even know this is good either. So just like these people are hating on it just because it's this girl with a big chest. You're only liking it because it's this girl in the big chest. Like they might promote like it might be really dumb and stuff like that, but you're like being die hard for it just because it's like I don't know. It was just really silly to me.
yeah, it was a weird time with that stuff. I don't get
Yeah,
what was happening with all that. Because at the end of the day, like there are people that are actually built like that character. Ironically enough, there are people like that. So
that's true.
it is it is what it is. And like I said, you don't have to watch the show. That's the thing too. At the end of the day, people got to remember you don't have to watch this stuff. Yeah, you can turn off the TV or watch some other thing. Especially when it comes to anime, you do realize just how much anime is getting created every single
Hmm.
month. You're telling me you can't find something else? Like, come on now.
That's true. I think I'm just at both ideas. Like you cannot watch it, but then also like people who are like when people are like, "Ooh, this looks horrible," and they're like, "Shut up! It's like stop like judging it or whatever," like blah blah blah, or get mad because somebody thinks the etchy is off-putting. They're allowed to think it's off-putting, and then they're gonna go watch
Yeah,
something else. But don't get mad because they think the etchy is too much, like and overpowers what plot might be in the show or something like that. Like again, people like things for different reasons, and if that's too much for somebody, they're allowed to think that. They're not like a-holes, they're not being too sensitive or whatever. It's like just what they like. Sorry,
yeah,
I've been neglecting the chat, so I'm gonna jump in real quick.
yeah. No, go ahead.
Andre says, I'm not really a fan of etchy, don't even know what that was an actual term. Oh, did you have to Google it? I think I learned it pretty early on my anime
Yeah,
career because I was like, why did they keep grabbing those girls' boobies or whatever? Andy says there's a fine line between fan service and etchy. For example, in Code Geass, it can be a little ridiculous, like some slow pan shots of a girl character for no reason. But honestly, I've seen worse. I agree. I don't know. Is there a distinction though, like a physical distinction? Like this is fan service, this is etchy. Because I feel like etchy
yes.
would be a type of fan service.
Well, I mean,
Because it's not really like its plot. Because when I
fan service
say
and action kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
yeah, that's what
So
I would
I thought
think.
I was trying to think because like when you have fan service, you have ecchi, and like they're saying, they have those pan shots in there for a reason. That's that gaze that they have there that they're purposely focusing on. That's the thing about Code Geass that I hate because it's a really good show again. But I can't recommend it to just anybody because you have to be a person that already kind of like watch anime and know that there are some quirks with anime. Once you
Mm,
know that, then I can recommend it. But before that, it's like there is this random ecchi that's in the show because I legit don't know why it's in there. It's so random at times and it's just like the show like it really didn't need it. It's such a great plot with such great characters. So I don't know why they keep thinking that they have to kind of like use that as a selling point to some degree because I know that that's what they're doing at times because they know that people over there in Japan and everything will buy that stuff because they like that kind of like the kind of art and all that. So
hmm
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. I just when I see something that like otherwise would be a great plot, but the etchy is overkill, I'm just like, dang, you kind of shot yourself in the foot here. Like, don't get me wrong. I know there's like a huge fan like base for that, but I'm just like, you know how more marketable? Because if you think about it this way, there's people who won't watch because of the etchy. But I don't, as long as the like, even if the plot's good. But I don't think there's many people who won't watch because of the lack of etchy, even if the plot is, you know what I mean? So I feel like you're kind
Well,
of,
that's actually not necessarily true. I've actually seen it on some shows. Like one show I will recommend, even though that's like I can't recommend on here because that thing's it's like 24 episodes. But Morty Biddle is a really good show and has a strong female protagonist. But no one knows that show. No one knows of this show. The show's really good though, but there's legit no ecchi at all.
oh.
So if people just said no, I don't care about this. Morty Biddle, a good show.
All right, we
More people need
got
to see that show.
a we got a recommendation. Like I'm thinking, what if like like Attack on Titan had ecchi.
Oh, God.
Like imagine, I'd be like, girl, what? Take it
Wait,
back.
what you mean? What you mean? Female Titans actually.
Oh my gosh. If they like close up on her chest or something and it was just like bam bam, then I'm like, oh snap, what's going on here? But I feel like she's just like, I don't know, I feel like everything is like very, I don't like, I don't know, I don't think there was a, well, I will say, well, that's not really ecchi. Yeah, I feel like that's
The
like,
only thing, there's only one moment where you can kind of say, okay, it's a little. I guess you could say there's a little fan service. Like, oh, I couldn't even say ecchi because it's like it doesn't really hit that term, but there is that fan service. There's this one moment with Mikasa where she was like working out, and you can see her abs and stuff, and she's like stretching and everything. That's like they literally get like the only moment I can say that I think there was like fan service in that moment. Or
ah,
maybe even with Aaron actually with this with the latest season with him with the jacked abs and stuff. You know, so there's also that. But there's really not much with Attack on Titan, which is great because you know it focuses more on the plot of things. And
mhm.
again, I want to say this too. It's not like Eki can't have good stories and be a good show with having that stuff in there. It's just all about how you implement the Eki is the thing. Is at least how I see it for me. You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
think
Because I
that's
don't necessarily
fair.
hate Eki shows, but it just I hate how they implement it
Yeah.
sometimes. It can be real lazy.
Yeah, sometimes it just seems like a clutch. Like if all else fails, people will like this because we're drawing boobies or whatever. So it's just like, you know, sometimes I'm like, this is so lazy. Like, would you like watch this if it wasn't for the like, you know, whatever the girls? But I guess everyone each to each their own.
Yeah,
Andy
like what Quest
says
says, every anime just has a target audience, so that's
that's
what they're
true.
looking
And
for.
it has to be meat. No, just kidding.
Oh,
Um,
snaps.
Andy says, with ecchi, I feel like it's one of those main aspects of the show in borderline hentai. With fan service, I think it pans and more pan shots. Yeah. And I went to watch this one thing that it was really interesting take where they're like, fan service is not necessarily sexual. Like, it's anything that's not really necessary like for the show, but they know that fans will join it or enjoy it. So one of the examples they use, like if you're in like in a mecha anime and they do like long pans over like the like machines and things like that, that's not necessarily necessary. But somebody who's really into that aspect of mecha, they're like, ooh, look at that beep boop boop bop thing on the like. They're like, ooh, look at that, like look at the shine. So it's just like, oh, and I thought that was a really cool way to describe it. Like, you know, it's cool. Even like ecchi, like you think female characters a lot of time, but like male, not that male or actually maybe in like yaoi or something like that. But like there's been fan service. Like if you ever free Iwatobi Swim Club, oh
Great
skate,
example.
skate the Infinity that has a lot of fan service in it,
Oh God.
a lot, and to the point where I was like, what's going on here? Like sometimes like there'll be like a character he's shirtless, busted up, like he's boom 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 boom, and then they'll just like prolong on his abs and I was like did they mean to cut that
Oh
scene?
well.
And I'm like, oh no they did not, because this is what we're here for. So yeah, that
See,
had a lot of
but
fan service.
exactly. We're getting more animes that have both ways now. That's the thing too. So here we go. All right, now you're getting some of your actually on this side with the free and skate and everything. So there it is.
Like he was like, if you guys see it, like there's this character that is literally like 95% abs. Like his chest, like he would be like a double D cup. You know, it's wild. But yeah,
Sounds like you enjoyed it though.
you know, for science, for science purposes, I did view it. I was like, okay, there it is, right there.
Hmm.
Those characters were very beautifully drawn in Skate the Infinity, I will say though. Um,
Were you drinking wine while watching the show?
would Magical Girl Transformers count as fan service? That's interesting. Like, I think from the
Yeah.
perspective of like fans who like Magical Girl stuff, they love to see the transformations. Like, I get excited at the point when they transform. So I think maybe that would be consider. I definitely would say that would consider fan service because it's like
Yeah.
they like do the transformation every single time. It's like we know what this looks like, but they're like, no, we have to show you the trend, like the put it on and like turn it into like a
Yeah, I mean,
space.
it's a literal spectacle that happens with that kind of stuff, and
Exactly.
it's kind of like you kind of looking forward to. If you're watching a Magical Girl show, you look forward to that. Actually, you looking forward to the transformations. It's kind of same thing. Like I think Saint Seiya and like a lot of these Power Ranger S type shows when they transfer and like the mechs come together and then you know you get the final form.
Hmm.
Like Voltron actually, great example. Voltron does that same thing where you put it all together and you're looking forward to Voltron coming together. Right?
True.
It's the same feeling. It's the same feeling.
It hypes like the fan, like, oh, they're about to do it now, like they're about to do it big. That's so true. Hey, C Star. Andy says, but also, oh, you're not late. So we aren't even done. recapping episode 11. We still
Oh
have
yeah,
one
you're right.
part. But we also still have to vote for next week's thing. But Andy says, but also if we're talking about fan service, that's more about how cool something is. Those magical transformations, very exciting. Yeah, I think like that's like I think a lot of people tend to interpret it as like a sexual thing, but there's just like something that maybe is not necessary, but it's like cool or cute or like the fans of the show would just really really enjoy for like you said. I think that's a perfect way to describe it for the aesthetic purposes. Like it's like, oh yeah, yay. um yes. So I'm gonna wrap up the rest of episode 11. So for the last bit of episode 11, it was a story about Nao and Ko. So for this story, I lost my place, y'all. I'll be honest.
Oh no.
Oh, so this is pretty short, but it's just like Ko, she's been playing the online game and she's been noticing that Now hasn't been logged on for a while. So she gets really, really worried and she goes to his work and he finds her there and she's like kind of shy, but she's like, yeah, I was just a bit worried because I was like, what's up with you? Why aren't you been logging on? And so he essentially says that Hirotaka, this kind of cross lines with the other story about Hirotaka and Narumi. Hirotaka has been playing games and cooped up in his house all like vacation period, so he didn't want to like bother him by asking him to use his like computer to play games. So that's why he's kind of been MIA. And so it kind of ends with Ko giving Nao this strategy guide that she made herself to kind of help him maneuver for the game and get better, which is just really really cute. And again, I stand that relationship. I love that
Yes.
dynamic. It's really
Yes.
adorable. Um,
Yes.
so the last bit, this actually last bit I'm going to talk about was actually after the ending song. So it was the last little cut at the end. So and I just thought it was oh, the show was so cute. I thought it was so cute. So essentially, the four of them are having lunch: Narumi, Hirotaka, Kabakura, and Koyanagi. And so Narumi, she had been reading a lot of like shoujo manga. So she's just like, she just blurts it out and she's like, "Hey everyone, who was your first love?" And they're all like, "Okay, that's like a weird question to ask. What are you talking about?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "How is it weird?" And then she changes the question to, "Who was your first 2D love?" So your first like anime love or whatever. And they all immediately, like the weaves they are, immediately like come through with answers. And she's like, "Wow, y'all can answer that, but you can't answer the other one." So essentially they're like hanging out and they're kind of talking, and then now he comes through, and so Narumi asked him the same question. She's like, "Now who was your first love?" And so he kind of gets flustered, but he tells them that it was his kindergarten teacher when he was younger, and he was talking about how like all the people, like all his friends had crushes on her, and everyone always like imagined who would get to marry her, yada yada yada. And then she was like, and he was like, but of course, not only were they like six, but she was already married, so that they all had like no chance. And so Narumi, she's like, well, that's a common occurrence that like, people don't get to date their first love. And then now he blurts out, he's like, well, Hirotaka got to date his first love. And the way that Hirotaka turned around and gave him this death glare, like, you better not say anymore. So it's kind of like the sentiment that Narumi was Hirotaka's first love because we know that he's liked her for a long time and he eventually gets to date her. So it was
Mhm.
kind of now accidentally letting slip that, Hirotaka has loved her for a long time. But he turns around
Oh.
and gives it like I feel like it's a look that only siblings can give, like the do you want to die? If you don't want to die,
Mhm.
keep your mouth
But
shut.
see, Kamakura understood
Yeah.
that stare though. He's sitting there like, oh God.
He was like, Mayday, Mayday, it's not going down. But I thought that was so not like it was just so many things. I thought that was cute. I thought it was so like funny that Hirotaka was like, you better not freaking say another word. I thought it was like hilarious how oblivious now was, like that he was literally about to like put that, and the fact that Narumi, she didn't even know what was going on either. She was oblivious to. I was like, God, what? You are just so like earth to Narumi. So then he has to like, save face. And he's like, oh yeah, that like, that video game that you were playing or whatever. Like in that game, you got to date her or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of how it ends with them and Narumi again being oblivious. But, them all just having that funny moment. So that is the full Wotakoi, the full series, excluding the OVAs. What do we rate this series? I just added that right now as a segment we're gonna have.
Uh,
How do we rate this series? Chat and break. Should we do 5 stars? Should we do good, bad, very good? Should we do out of 10? Let's do it out of 10. That gives us wiggle bumps.
10. All right. 'Cause I was hoping to go for that anyways, but after I got done with it, I did enjoy this show a lot, like a lot. There was like a few episodes that kind of dragged just a little bit, but it was still enjoyable to watch all the way through. I will say one of my cons already with the show is the fact that it's just one, it's 11 episodes, so like the heck y'all doing for one? Like why you couldn't get 12 or 13? Like we needed more episodes because like I said, we don't. I mean, we didn't. It's like it inferred that he hasn't dated nobody, but we still don't truly actually know. Like there's still information that of course is out there because of course there's more for the story, and you can tell how it ends. It just ends very cliffhangery in a way because you feel like there's gonna be more to it. But as you see, there ain't no other goddamn freaking like season 2 or anything for some reason. I don't know why. The show good. What we doing? Why you making live actions and why you can't make it like season 2? So it irked me a little bit, and that's a con in my honest opinion because I hate when shows do this, and because sometimes we might not ever actually get another season. That stuff happens.
I th-
So
I think it's one of those situations where they're like, if you want to find out what happens next, you better go read that manga, ho. Like, like get your ass to that manga. Like, we got the good
anime. I like the song. The opening track is just so it's adorable. I've been doing the little hand thing. Come on, like come on. But I want to say, given all that, I'm torn right now because I kind of want to give it a 9. I see Andy did a 9 out of 10 too because it's really good, but that ending is the problem I have with it. Actually, like it actually is an issue because I hate when shows end like that. But without at least some kind of confirmation. But I'm like, given all the animes I've seen, I'm gonna put it like an 8, 8.5.
Okay.
8.5. That's where I'm gonna do it out of 10.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. It's hard because it's like if you compare it out of like all the anime like that you watch, like obviously there was ones that were a lot more compelling and things like that, like Attack on Titan. I talk about Attack on Titan every 2 seconds, but like Attack on Titan, Death Note, or something like that. But it made me like feel really good. Like I feel like when I would watch it, I'd always like finish like an episode with like a smile on my face and just thinking like reminiscing on the little jokes and bits here and there. I think it definitely teetered that line between like romance and comedy in the sense that there was parts that were really really funny and then there was parts that were just like really made my heart like I don't know, some things like sometimes some of like the romantic parts in like romance like anime or like dramas or whatever can be corny, but I feel like every part that was supposed to make my heart like swell kind of did. And I think a lot of the times for me like how an anime could be good, like sometimes I look past the plot altogether and if there's just characters I really like, I'm like this is great. And I really like Hirotaka. Like he probably is my favorite character, I will say. I love Marumi, but there's something about Hirotaka that's just so like I don't know. I think he's like funny even if it's like unintentional. I don't know. I really like that kind of like guy that seems like he's just like flat on the surface in a way, but he like actually has a lot of feelings and thoughts and things like that, and like how he was like struggling to express himself sometimes. I thought that was really cute. That being said, I'm probably gonna give it a 9 because I definitely would recommend this to people. Like I would say if you have some time and it's short, which is bad, but also it's like, watch it if you have time. It definitely is a cute little thing. It's not really like there wasn't really high stakes. That's why like with the end I was like, well, it kind of ended on whatever note, but it kind of was like it never got that deep anyway. So I was like, well, I guess like I can see them ending, and I definitely think it's like, okay, now go read the manga type thing. But that was a cute little
They
anime.
at least did that at the end and told me, hey, go read the manga or something or whatever. Like
physically tell you.
I was expecting something else than how it ended because, like I said, I hate when things leave so open ended because they usually and they don't give you no kind of update or anything, so you never know when we're gonna get another season. Like, I've watched shows where they only have one season and I want them to have another one, but they never come back, and it's just like, they're in that freaking void. I don't like we're in that void like that, but no, that's fair. That's my reason why. Like honestly, this show can't not get any lower than like an 8. Honestly, in my opinion, because
it's not bad.
It's not a bad show. The writing is pretty darn good. Like I said, the moments that you're supposed to feel, you felt them. Characterization's really good for the show as well. I do say that Kamakura needs a little bit more because like I said, there was like that whole moment with that relationship thing was kind of weird. So that's why I had to bring down the rating a little bit too. But yeah, it's something I can easily recommend to most people because there's nothing really weird about the show. It's an enjoyable watch. Like it's something I can really hate on the show for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a recommendation that many anime fans and people even non-anime fans that could probably even get into.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I feel like a lot of with those like shorter rom-coms, like a lot of them have that kind of vibe. Like it's inoffensive, it's a cute, quick like, watch, has funny parts, highs and lows. Okay, so Andy gave it a 9 out of 10. Andre also gave it a 9 out of 10. It's cute and I enjoyed it. I do wish there was more development with Narumi and Hirotaka and even Now and Co, but still a good series. I actually that's a great point. I agree. I wish they would have introduced Now and Co a bit more earlier so we could see
Yeah,
more of
true,
him.
true.
Because I think like yeah, how you're talking about how things are kind of left unresolved. We really just got like our toes into like the Now Co relationship, so it's just like yes, what happens to them? Like we don't know. At
I,
least with
I got
like
so invested.
yeah, at least with Hirotaka and like Kabakura and Koyonaki, we like kind of know, okay, this is kind of how they are. But like I don't even know, like, are they gonna become lovers? Are they like what are they gonna become friends? Like,
Yes,
what
exactly.
what's gonna happen? So I do agree with you there. But yeah,
He
I
gonna
think
get hit by a bus? Like I don't know.
goodbye. You really want someone to get hit by a bus. But overall, oops, snap. I did not know I forgot to scroll down. Hey, Anime's Life, welcome back. Quet says, if you want to get more into this series, read the manga. There's more development with Koa now if you want to continue the adventure. I'm gonna read it. Actually, I went to Books a Million a couple days ago, and they had it there. I was like, dang, like it was right on the display
Oh.
table for like hot manga, and it was like there, and I was like, is this a sign? Like, should I just get the manga? I keep seeing for one of the mangas the like title or the cover art is Kabakura and Koyonaki getting married. So I'm like, it must get really, really deep. Yeah. I'm like, it
Why
seems
you
that it
told me
gets
that? Why
oh,
you told me that?
or do they?
Oh. No, it's too late. It's too late now. You can't take it
Am I
back.
lying? If I have a better twist, my bad. I didn't mean to spoil it. But yeah. Um okay. Andy says, I might change my score to an 8 or 8.5 looking back. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's no high stakes, so it can drag a little, but there is also a good thing if you're looking for something chill and cute. Yeah, like I think it's
Hmm.
hard because I guess 10 out of 10 is like you need to stop what you're doing, stop breathing, hold your breath, and watch this for the next like 3 hours or whatever. Like that's like a 10. But for this, I would suggest it to somebody if somebody's like, what is this Wotakoi thing? I'm like, hey, that was a very cute thing I watched. You should watch it. But if I don't know if I would be like, you need to stop what you're doing and watch it right now, like I would for Attack on
Nah.
Titan or something like that.
Yeah. Like there's very few animes that I would give a 10 out of 10 to because it's really hard to put something in that bubble because like you're saying that's the pinnacle of what the show could possibly be, basically. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So it is very difficult, but I would confidently want to put Attack on Titan on there from my list of like 10 out of 10 series. Like I would probably put that and maybe like actually I can't put Brotherhood or Full Alchemist on there because Full Alchemist exists. Brotherhood can't be a 10 out of 10. But
Wait, you think the
I'll go
first,
with it.
the Fullmetal Alchemist, the original 2005 or whatever, is better than Brotherhood?
No, it's the fact that there are certain story beats, especially in the beginning for Brotherhood, that were already done in Fullmetal Alchemist that were done better. The whole Shao Tucker thing
Ah.
was done so much better in the regular Fullmetal Alchemist, and you can get yourself cry on that one because the way they structured that was perfect. But with Brotherhood, they just skimmed through some of that. Same thing with
Mm.
I don't know if everybody's seen the show, so I don't want to spoil it, but there's a certain person's death that happens in there. And in Fullmetal Alchemist
Ah.
original did it way better than how it did in the first part. So I do take that into account because it's a whole
Mm.
series. Some people don't because that's already been there. If you already watched Fullmetal Alchemist for one, then like, going into that, it's not going to be a problem. But let's say no one watched Fullmetal Alchemist, the first one, right? And they
Mhm.
just watch just Brotherhood. You're gonna feel like something's a little off when you're like first watching it for like the first 13 episodes.
Do
So
you think that
that's why I
somebody
can't
who
do it.
doesn't even have that frame of reference of the first original series, do you think they'll even notice though that it's like skimmed over? Like, will it seem
Yes,
weird?
it's pretty noticeable on how quick they get through some of that actually, because they're
Mm,
just trying to get through it so they can get to the actual story beats that they haven't actually done in the show yet from the original. So that's why it kind of skims and goes a little quicker than it needs to. It's not saying it's bad, but it's just not as impactful that it needs to be. Like you're
mm-hmm.
not really getting the same type of feeling, honestly, with the person's death, for instance, because you get a lot more time in Fullmetal Alchemist than you do with the Brotherhood because they skip through that real fast. So yeah.
Mm. No, I get that, definitely. Oh, Anime's Life says Oran needs another season, period. Did it? I never watched them, or I never read the manga, so I don't know. But I feel like it ended very well. Like, was there some more stuff after that? I feel like they did it perfectly. I loved how it ended. Well, I mean, yeah, I would like to see more because I just love the characters. But I mean, oh, I didn't know that there was more. I thought it was more of like their story spliced into the plot, like of the manga that they skipped over. I didn't know there was like more that happens after it. Um,
Another case of go read the manga. God dang
Andy says, "Is it safe to say that a lot of anime are kind of ads for the manga?" I've read and I've heard like that tends to be the case in some instances. That
it.
it's just like, "Hey, we have this manga, go read it."
Like
Um,
the show I just brought up actually recently, Grafnir is one of those shows that the way it ends and how the show is, like they kind of want you to read the manga at the point because like honestly, I was surprised the show even got an anime, honestly, because the show was like the manga was not doing well. The manga was not doing well, but because the anime, people went to the manga, and now it's actually selling pretty well. So the
oh,
anime did its job by bringing people to the to,
yeah.
to the manga.
They're like all
So,
according to plan. Um,
and no promise Neverland. We ain't talking about
Andy says a 10 out of 10 story for me is Fruits Basket, probably the best one or the best or one of the best shoujo ever. I definitely think it was good, but I don't know. I don't
that.
know because I feel like it's really hard because it's like again like rating something like I keep bringing up, but Attack on Titan versus something else. Like I think it just depends how well the story did what it set out to do. Like if it's a really
Yeah.
sad story and I was on the floor bawling, then I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. But that did something different than what like something like Attack on Titan made me feel, or like a good romance rom com made me feel. So I guess it like all depends. But I could see that because I definitely think it's like a good story. The Oran manga ends perfectly in my opinion. Is it different from the ending in the
High
anime?
chance.
I need
The
to
high
read
chance
it.
is.
Let me read it then, because you know what? That's a great story. Oh, did they get married? Wait, let me not spoil it
Yeah,
for
what are you
him.
doing? Like you said, you're gonna read it. Why you asking questions for it?
Spoiled something from yourself, and you're like, oh, okay, this is good. Let me actually read it then. Have you ever done that?
Actually, I think I have done it before.
Yeah, see? You're like, I just want to make sure I'm not wasting my time. Like, I've done that before. There was one manga where I was like, because I get really, like, that's why I can't really do love triangles in any type of, like, genre, whether it's anime or dramas or movies, because I get so attached to one side of the one side of the love triangle. And if at any point it seems like that side's not gonna be like the end game, I'm like, this is trash. I'm out of here. Like, I get real mad. So there'll be some times where I'm like, all right, let me not waste my time. Let me not go through this heartbreak. Let me just Google to see who ends up together. And then if it's like who I want, then I'm like, all right, let me finish reading this.
I haven't done it like that though. That's what the heck. Wait a minute. Oh, I mean, you can still enjoy it that way. So you're like, all right, now I'm not wasting my time. This is the group. This is what I need to see. Oh, crap, that's great.
Oh, Leanne says, honestly, spoilers don't bother me. Sometimes they don't. Like, I think for something like Attack on Titan, it did bother me because, like, I don't know, it was like a mystery. But if, like, you, like, tell me who ends up together, I still want to, I still have the, I guess, like, experience the journey of how it got to that point, right?
Yeah, you want to see the whole adventure of them, like at the end of the day, because that's pretty much what you're doing, right? Right, basically, because you're not really just trying to see them just end up together. You want to see
Mm-hmm.
how they can come to be. Like the
Exactly.
same thing with like what you keep talking about Attack on Titan. Like, there are certain mysteries in Attack on Titan that even if you did get spoiled, it still doesn't hurt you necessarily knowing because it doesn't really change the plot of the story. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's still more you can do, but of course you don't want to get spoiled for mystery type shows in general because you want to, you know, experience it for yourself. But it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty some stuff in there is pretty obvious.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and even sometimes if you get spoiled, you still lack context that's like would really blow your mind, like when you get that second
Yeah,
layer of context. So there's also that. Um,
that's what happened to me with Attack on Titan.
True. Andy says, yes, so from what I remember, the anime ending isn't canon, but yes, it continues from that point, and there's this super cute scene with Tamaki and Haruhi. Oh, now I want to watch it. That is such a good, that is a 10 out of 10 for me because, and I might be in this, I might have some nostalgia glasses, but I just thought that story from beginning to end was great.
I need to watch the show. I haven't watched the show actually. Everyone keeps
Ooh,
talking about it. Anytime I meet anyone, they be talking about our host club and stuff. It's like I need
it's
to watch it
so
apparently.
good. And I cried multiple times. There's this AMV
Oh
from
gosh.
Anime Boston 2008. It won Best in Show, and it just literally stitches together like the most romantic parts of that between Tamaki and Haruhi, the two mains. And literally every time I watch it, I cry. Like I cannot not cry because it's so beautiful. Oh my God, when will I find a love like that? Is the question. Um, but yeah, I cried
Oh,
at the end of the or on my. You know what? Maybe it's just time for me to cry. I really enjoy crying at sad things, if that makes sense.
wait,
Um,
what the heck?
Earl, I don't. I hate Earl. C-Star. Leanne, hit C-Star with the band. I hate Earl. I will never be with Earl. you, you guys torment me with Earl.
Oh crap.
Um, but yes, so it seems like we all like in general, whether it's like an 8, 9, or 10, it seems like we all, can come to the consensus that this is like a good show. Like we
Yeah.
mostly enjoy. Like it wasn't trash. So do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Mm, Anything else? Outside of the struggle of streaming, I think I'm good right now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's just take a moment to like scream at streaming. Streaming is fun, but it's very, very,
Yeah.
very frustrating.
But I will say this though. Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with this as well. Like I really do. I appreciate, us being able to collab like this, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming through and indulging us and having fun here. This is a good time. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, we almost forgot. What are you watching segment? What are you currently watching?
Currently watching, it's pretty much the same stuff at the moment because like the stuff I was watching ended. So I don't think there's anything. Or is there actually? Hold on a minute. Let me check my list.
Is there?
Let's see what I got on my list here. Because I got a lot of anime set up. Of course, there's Megalobox.
I'm glad you're enjoying Anime Club, Andy. Sorry, I'm just in the chat.
Yeah. I started watching actually Jujutsu Kaisen dub. So there was that actually. I forgot about that.
Okay. I watched a
Which
little bit of it too.
it's not bad. It's not bad. The only voice that's throwing me off right now is Megami's because his voice is a little too deep. So I didn't expect him to have such a deep voice. But other than that, so far it's sounding pretty nice. I'm impressed with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to, but because I only watched the dub, but I thought it sounded pretty good. Also, I thought it was funny because I was talking about some of the stuff with my brother, when he came to visit, this week, and he also said, similar to you, that it reminds him of Bleach. Like he said, he agreed, which I thought
Hmm,
was interesting. So,
Interesting.
if you like
Yeah, I mean, there's
Bleach,
literal themes. There's literal themes to it. That's why it's like, it has reminiscences of like Bleach and stuff like that. It's
mhm.
so it has those like influences there so much so that they end up even did an interview with Tite Kubo, the person that created Bleach, to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen actually and get his opinion on it. So there's a whole thing there, and his opinion was actually
Aw.
quite interesting.
What did you say? Was he like, this is trash? Or he was like, oh no, this is like cute. I like it.
He likes the fact that someone actually kind of was inspired by his work and stuff, and you can see the things that were added that that were inspired from his show. One thing he has a criticism on though is that the females in the show, they're all kind of samey. Like they need a bit more personality because they're not really sticking out to you like that. Like from their character designs to just how the characters are. Like he has a kind of a problem with them. But other than that, he does enjoy it, and yeah. I mean, he does like the character. Like the characters aren't bad or anything. He's just like I said, he just that's like the one gripe he has. But I kind of
Oh.
agree with him honestly. I kind of agree with him when if I really look back at the show, that is a thing with it because all the girls are really good in the show. That's the thing. Like they throw down. They're strong female characters. I just
Love that.
wish that there's a little bit more to them though.
Hmm.
There isn't a much.
That's interesting
Yeah,
that he actually like went in and like did a critique, and he wasn't just like throwaway like, oh, it's good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh.
that's true actually. Yeah, you have a point there. And by the way, see you later, Z anime. Get some
Bye.
rest.
Thanks for coming through. Um, sorry, Anime is Life. He did the good night. Oh wait, never mind. I thought that was from the Skate Infinity dub. But yeah, thank you for coming through. See you next time, or I guess next stream, whenever we catch you next. But yeah, in terms of what I'm watching, I haven't picked up anything new anime, but I did start and finish the Harley Quinn animated series.
Oh,
Yeah, so originally it was on some like weird DC like Marvel comic thing. Like it was on some like streaming service that I just was not gonna buy because I already have enough. But they, I don't know if it was even recently, but they put it on HBO Max. So I started watching that and it is so good. It's basically like telling the story of Harley Quinn and how she's on her quest. Like in the beginning she's dating Joker, but he treats her badly. So she breaks up with him and then it's kind of her trying to prove herself as like her own villain rather than being like Joker's sidekick. And she teams up, she's like best friends with Ivy. It is so good. Like I watched, there's 2 seasons of it. I think like 13 episodes each. Really, really, really good. Loved it. Like it's so good. It's so funny. Like it's kind of vulgar, like they cuss and things like that. It's a bit gruesome, not Invincible level, but there are some like, a little bit of gruesome things, but it's just really, really funny. And Kaylee Cuoco, she's from the Big Bang Theory, the girl in the Big Bang Theory. She does Harley Quinn, and it is so perfect because rather than having her do that like Jersey accent, like the whole like hi Mr. J or Puddin or whatever, she like goes in and out of it. So like when she talks to Joker when they're like together, she has it, she lays it on real thick. But then when she like talks to other people, like she just like talks without it, and it's really interesting because it kind of reminds me of like if you're from like some type of hometown or something that has like a thick certain accent and you like move away to like the city or something for a while, how you're like your accent becomes like a hybrid of like what it is when you're with like your hometown friends versus what it is with your city friends. So I thought that was a really interesting interpretation of like Harley Quinn's accent. And it's just really, really good. It's really, really funny. So I would suggest it. Have I been watching any anime? No, but I started this one K drama called Absolute Boyfriend, so I never
why
watch
does that
anime.
sound really familiar? Actually, that sounds stupidly familiar.
It's
That
based
sounds.
off a manga.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was based off a manga that became a drama, a J drama, and then they made a K drama about it like 2 or so years ago. Yeah, so that's it. Um,
Absolute boyfriend?
Absolute Boyfriend. Andy says, I rewatched the entirety of The Crown recently. I feel like I need to watch that because people say that's legit. Also, bye, Jadello. Thanks for coming through. Oh, Barbie says I
Oh, wait a
rewatched
minute.
One Tree Hill.
This looks familiar. Yeah, I've seen this. This looks really familiar.
I'm so
Like I've seen some.
sweaty today.
I'll look this up later.
I think it's gonna be a cute story. I never watched the whole thing or read or experienced the whole story in fully, but it sounds like a cute little fun bop. Um, yeah, I never watched One Tree Hill. Like I don't think I've seen a single episode of One Tree Hill. I don't know
I
how.
have not either. Look, there's just some shows you just miss, and that's one of those ones you missed.
Definitely. Another show that I'm surprised I didn't watch was Pretty Little Liars. Um,
Hmm.
you watched that?
No, I haven't actually. That's
Oh,
another one. I like. I didn't understand the hype. I was like, I don't really care about watching that. Come on, it can't be that good. Come on now.
apparently it ended horribly because I was what inspired me to want to watch it is
Oh,
that I was
really?
watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
I dodged a bullet then. Thank God. All right.
Honestly, because that's the worst when you're like very involved with something and then like you're just at the end you're just like that's crap. Like if I binged watch something and it's garbage, I'm like, oh well. But if I watched it over years and like anticipated it and thought, how is this gonna end? I'm so sad when it's like it's bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that pain too many times.
Yeah.
Too many
One thing
times.
that I might watch is I want to rewatch something soon, and I'm debating if I'm gonna watch The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya
Oh.
or something like Death Note or Nana or something like that. Because I'm kind of forgetting the plots of both of them. But which is good. I like when that happens because then I can rewatch something as if it's brand new. So, but I don't know which one. I have to have time because I want to be able to like watch it as a daily thing. So that kind of depends. But if you guys have
Yeah.
any like I don't know, suggestions. Oh, sorry. One more thing. I'm not watching this. I
Oh.
watched this a while ago, but there's this idol drama called I Want My Fave or My Idol to Get to the Budokan or something like that. And it's about this female Wota or like Stan who stands like this like literally flop like idol group. They're not flops, but they're like struggling idol groups, and it's kind of just her and her friends who are all hardcore fans, and it kind of shows you like the life of to be like what your life is like when you're a hardcore stan of like a struggling idol group or underground idol group. It's very funny and interesting. So I also want to put that one out there.
That's
So
all
yeah.
good. It's all good.
All right. So break. Any last
Yes.
words?
Well, y'all know me, you know. Come check me out sometime. I should be streaming a little later here, actually, right after we get done here with my boy Quetz, because we need to finish this horror game we were playing. It's a choice-based horror game, so we're making decisions and stuff, and it gets real bootleg. We already lost like 2 people already, so like yeah, but come by, check it out if you want. But y'all know what's good. You know what's good.
You know what's good, yo? All right, guys. Thank you again for being on today's podcast and talking about Wotakoi with us. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good, like everyone else who has to go, has like a good day, night.